All right, peace and black power family. Welcome to another Sarnetta TV House of Consciousness production. You already know what it is. This is your brother Sarnetta. I am your host, and I'm bringing in another heavy hitter. You brothers and sisters better be ready when we build this wall, this comedic wall. Oh my God, ain't nothing stopping. We bringing in another young brother. He's a scholar. You one leave, 5 more come in. Reggie leave. 5 more come in. You know what I'm saying? Garfield leaves and turn his back on Kemet. 10 more come in. We already got Chris Harris. We bringing in another brother who is awesome, who is powerful. I would say I don't know, between him and Jabari, I would say they probably right here until I see the brother's work and ethic, and if he can handle the ring, getting in, or the battlefield, or whatever, anybody that come at him, if he can deal with that pressure, I think he can, because he's Kemet. And so without any further ado, I bring to you my brother, Shaka, in the building. What's up, Shaka? He runs the channel of Ma'at Forever. So if y'all are aware of that, make sure you go and subscribe to Ma'at Forever channel. Go over there and show some love for our brother. Peace and black power to you. Hotep. Shaka, what's happening, man? Unmute yourself.
Hotep Sen-E Sarnetta,
Yeah.
thank you for the invitation. I just want to greet the people as I usually do. Hotep Senu, Hena Senut, Iti, Ren Isha Kandugu Kemet. I hope you're doing well. Bonjour, Sak Passe, Mbote, all that good stuff.
Damn, don't y'all hear that? Don't that sound beautiful to your ears, man, right there? Just to hear him go in on that. I know he's dealing with knowledge, man.
Have you ever met the Afala Benga?
No, I've seen him. I've seen him, but I'm not acquainted with him.
Well, you seen him on YouTube?
But brother, you like to say I know him and him. In 30 years, you don't have a book, you don't have a website, you don't have a platform. You have to go on other people's platforms. So you can talk all you want that you are acquainted with.
Well,
whoever. It doesn't hold any bearing with your scholarship.
Listen, I think everybody knows my work. You're just being introduced. Okay?
What is your work? You've been carrying their suitcases. You went errand and bought them drinks and coffee and tea. Everybody can do that. That's why I nickname you Butler.
So Sarnetta, so you allow this person to talk about, I carry Sarnetta's bags and suitcases.
So you are Butler for Sarnetta as well. It's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
and Sarnetta called you the B word. You did not object. You don't have any background.
You know.
The Semitic Allah burning down tells us was a black God represented by a black bull whose hide denoted his black skin.
Here's the picture that he showed on the screen. It's a deity El, the god El. Pay attention to the crown or the headdress, if you will. This is a picture from the front of the same statue, a little closer, and a little bit from the side here. Now, this headdress is actually the Atef crown. If you go on Webster's online dictionary, that's what it says. Atef is the specific feathered white crown of the Egyptian deity Osiris. It combines the head jet, the crown of Upper Egypt, with red ostrich feather for the Osiris cult. The Atef crown identifies Osiris in ancient Egyptian painting. If you go to Webster's dictionary, Merriam-Webster, it says Atef, hold on, a tall crown with a long feather on each side, shown in the art of ancient Upper Egypt as worn by Osiris. Okay? Here you can see Osar or Osiris with the Atef crown. This is from the papyrus of Nebket. It's actually in the Louvre Museum, and you can see me filming that papyrus on the video entitled Reality Check. Why black people ain't going nowhere, but you might as well put Afro Style Reality Check, it's gonna come up. And in here, it's also from the Louvre Museum. You have Osiris in the middle with the Atef crown, and the description for it. If you go on the website of the Louvre Museum and you type Royal and Divine Triad, you can do a search and you will see they mention that he is actually wearing the Atef crown. Now, finally, you can compare the crowns. Okay, first you have the god of the Arabs Negroes, which first is El, but somehow, some way becomes Allah. But that's up to y'all. That's up to the doctor. And then you have the one that I showed you, Osiris. Then again, from the front, compared with another statue of Osiris, and then finally the same statue from another angle.
Biblical king's seal discovered in dump site. This is the royal seal of the king Hezekiah, and here we have an ankh. And finally, last but not least, you need to see it to believe it. The God of the Bible, El, slept in his own dung and urine. This is Ugaritic Narrative Poetry, page 195. And we also have this book here, the Masria in the Prophetic Literature, where it clearly says that El floundered in his own feces and urine. Microphone check 1 2. Good. Hotep Senut, Hena Senut, Iti, Reni, Shaka, Ndugu, Kemet. I hope you are doing well. The title of this live stream is Fat Joe. Fat Joe and Immortal Technique talked about Afrika Bambaataa's child molestation accusations. Andrea Brunette is in the place to be. Texas Bomber is in the place to be. First thing I want to show you before we get to the nitty-gritty.
Wasn't your
Now, that's yesterday's live stream. 19 years old Grandmaster Flash and 13 years old Sweet Pea. And usually, after the live streams, I put up that comment. I let people know that only supporters can post in the chat. And here's the link to join. And I give my Cash App and my PayPal. And somebody left a comment. This is the comment. That person wrote. So in other words, you want biased chat. Only supporters, because you know if they support you, then most likely they probably agree with you. You don't want anyone who disagrees with you or may possibly challenge you. So I told him if someone wants to challenge me, I should have put wants to challenge me. If someone wants to challenge me, the link to get on the panel is in the chat. Stop crying. People spend money on designer clothes, alcohol, drugs, clubs, jewelry, and whatnot. But when it comes to information, all of a sudden, they are broke. Please, it's $3 per month, $36 per year. We're going to have nearly all the talking points in the world. Some people just want to criticize you. It's okay, they have the right to. Now, you must have heard about Fat Joe. The video that I'm about to share comes from a YouTube channel entitled The Culture Spot. It was uploaded a day ago. The person doesn't have too many subscribers. It's in 1,000, but it's okay. So I'm sharing the link in the chat. Oh, wrong one. There it is. I will probably make some commentary as the video goes along. Now, I've heard Layla Wheels talking about Fat Joe. I don't know if this is the video she was talking about. It looks like he was live. So probably the comments going up and down the screen, or let's say through the screen, from his live stream, I'm presuming. But he addressed the situation, so most likely somebody put it in the chat, wherever he was at. And he touched on the issue. I know Fat Joe when I was a teenager. I think the first song that I heard from him was Josie, Jose. Or was it Hey Joey? How was it entitled? Maybe Josie, we should say acronym for Jealous One, Still Envy. Maybe that's the name of the album. But it's a song with the Marvin Gaye sample. The sample of the song, Sexual Healing. I don't know if I was like 14. I thought he was a black guy when I first heard him. Josie, Jealous One, Still Envy is the name of the album. So I'm off with the timing because that's the album where they have What's Love featuring Jarwin and Ashanti. Maybe most people know him because of that song. He's been around for a long time, doing hardcore / underground hip hop. You know, Flo Joe. I mean, the beat of Flo Joe, man.
It's a real hardcore gutter beat, man. But I think the song is called "Hey Joey." It was also part of the collective DITC that included the late Big L, one of the most gifted MC. Well, I get it. Jealous Ones Still Envy, Josie, that's 2001. But there was Jealous Ones Envy in 95. Don't mind me if I'm taking my time. I was told once again that people get the notification on YouTube about 40, 45 minutes after the beginning of the stream. So it's 4 p.m. anyway, when I usually start the live streams. When I presume some people finish at 5, doing the 9 to 5. Texas has the same time as New York, or maybe not. Um, it may not have been in all states, but you had the time change. We didn't have it yet. We're gonna have it this weekend in France. So maybe it is 3 p.m. Maybe let's find out. Maybe it is 5. Maybe it is 5 p.m. in New York. Yeah, it's 5 p.m. Okay. Well, I don't find the album, but anyway, hey Joey, New York is 1 hour ahead in Texas. So yeah, I thought it was a black dude. And then had a very long career. I guess the only issue that I had with Fat Joe is him using the N word. He spoke on it.
Said that he'd been using that word for so long, that he was called that when he was a kid. I don't know if he made any effort like Immortal Technique that I will touch on afterwards. But Immortal Technique, Industrial Revolution Part 1 and 2, he spoke about the use of the N-word, and he said that he was going to make effort not to use it anymore. I remember when I saw an interview of Fat Joe talking about Tupac when he was in Rikers Island. And he said that he told his people out there to make sure that Tupac would be safe. And I thought, oh, that's a real dude right there. So let's listen up now.
And I talk about the shit nobody gonna talk about. There's 3 founding fathers.
Now, he's correct when he said he's going to talk about the stuff that nobody talks about, because you have very few artists who have been talking about the Afrika Bambaataa stuff. And I'm going to share Lil Will's YouTube channel, because MCs act like they don't know. KRS1 was asked about the situation on Drink Champ, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, he was asked about the situation, and his response was, I don't give a F, which has surprised and shocked many, including myself. I was very disappointed at that response. In the chat, you have the link to the playlist from the YouTube channel of Layla Wheels. Layla Wheels. The playlist is entitled Trapped in a Culture. There are how many videos on that playlist? "54 videos. So you have many people who have testified, some anonymously, some non-anonymously. Hey, what's up, Young Hero? How you doing, brother? You know, I almost forgot. To say one thing. Ten likes already. Okay. Ching Ching, our brother from Be More, has given us another receipt yesterday. I took a nest up video that he shared with us. And I have uploaded this. Fuck 100 in his crew blast to Zariak for defending the child molester, ISUPK rapper. And this is an opportunity for everybody worldwide to witness that all the B-Mays dude, all the child molester flunkies who came on my channel, typing in the chat or in the comments that is gossiping. I bet they are not going to tell WAC, oh, this is gossiping. Young Hero wrote, you see how deep the problem is if you make a lot of money, or if you are famous in any way, you can rape or abuse kids. So like I was saying, I don't think people are going to say, the same people who told me that I was gossiping, I don't think they're going to tell WAC 100 that he's gossiping, or the people from his crew. They know better. Now, I don't think they're going to tell Fadjo that he's gossiping either. Those are weak talking points. So he's showing you this alone, is showing you that those people are B-made dudes who most likely have raped some people in their lifetime, and they don't like when we criticize rapists. I remember Pan Africans are some of the dumbest, fakest, and lowest people on the planet Earth. Not all, of course, but many. Many know about the rapists and the pedophiles. You see. So let's continue.
Grandmaster Flash, Kool Herc, and Afrika Bambaataa of the Universal Zulu Nation. Now, Afrika Bambaataa has shit like Soul Sonic Force. You know, there would not be no Luke from Miami or no bass music or booty music if it wasn't for everybody sampling Soul Sonic Force, Afrika Bambaataa. Okay? He's beyond a pioneer. Since I met the man, he was always stand up, always a nice guy. I'm not copping out. He was always about inclusion. He was always about, if you Asian and you love hip hop, if you white and you love hip hop, if you black, if you Latino, it's inclusion. They would have these Zulu Nation anniversaries. This is where my brother would go, bring the cassette back, and how I learned about hip hop. Now, because we don't like these people, we have different things about them, we cannot exclude the history of hip hop.
I want to show you just a comment that was left on the video that I shared, the latest one that I shared. Which is that one here. See, it was posted 2 minutes ago. And this person wrote, sharing. Yes. All Hebrew groups condone sex with underage. With the underage. Whenever the period starts is when they're ready for you. This is common knowledge. Same with most pro-black communities. And this makes me think about something. I was watching the video of Kid Priest podcast with our brother Chuck Morgan. He was dealing with the Nubians and their lives. Next to the 66, how you doing? Thank you for being here with us. She became a supporter yesterday. And I'm wondering if the sister Nepal is going to talk about the Hebrew Israelite child molesters, because she's been a Hebrew Israelite and maybe she still is. Because I heard all the sound effects that she was making. You would think it was a song called "Oh My God," the remix. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! I mean, anybody has been among Hebrew Israelites, they must know how to get down. Here is a Hebrew Israelite himself saying how to get down.
I'm gonna tell you why, because I'm an Israelite and Tazariak Israelite, and I think his doctrine is off compared to what we teach it. We both had the same mission, but he's telling the Israelites it's okay to mix race, right? He's telling that they got a doctrine saying that if a child reached a flower, they could be 15 or 9 years old, you can have sex with them.
Okay,
This is what they
now
teach.
you talk about running.
Now, as usual, you've seen Scott and Cheddar changing the subject. Come to find out, his close friend revealed to the whole world publicly that he was in a relationship with a girl called Nikki Chanel from Harlem when she was 15 years old, and he was in his 30s. So you can understand if that accusation is true, if that allegation is true, that, you know, it will be uncomfortable for him to address this issue. But some people went further than 15 years old. Talked about it yesterday. So I'm wondering, did they bring that subject of Malachi York or the Nubians in order to avoid talking about the Hebrew Israelites? Is it the case of looking for the bigger monster? Because the mighty Hebrew, I'm sure she spoke to him. And he was convicted of rape. He went to jail for that. So how are you going to be a Paul regarding revelations of Malachi York's action? And he's been in jail for many years. But you have some people who are free. And according to her ex-boyfriend, actually ex-husband, this is what that dude did.
Let's not forget the mighty Hebrew nigga, who you get constantly on your channel, who's on all the Hebrews channel. Don't forget the mighty Hebrew, the bald head nigga, been already incarcerated in prison for molesting a young child. He came home and they violated him again because the nigga was trying to fuck with another child.
And as her ex-husband is speaking, we can see that he put her message on the screen. So it's difficult for her to claim that she didn't hear that part. Now we have the court summary, we have the paperwork. Regarding the 6 charges that he was found guilty of. So she spoke to him, gave him the respect, even though the guy's a convicted rapist. So it seems hypocritical, but maybe she will address that eventually. I'm not going to read next to this latest comment because I was going to say, oh, you've been saying horrible stuff about me. Now, let's continue with Fat Joe. The pastor said that I hate the Bible. I don't know where she got that from.
Music, we cannot change it to our likings. If there's a new, because I asked my daughter the other day, what's the gender? She said, Dad, there's like 20, 30 genders now. Okay, so as you see, as time is going on and the world is progressing and the world is having different views of things, people who have a voice are starting to distort the facts. Now, I've been hearing for the last couple of years, like just before maybe like COVID, that there's rumors that Afrika Bambaataa was, it hurts my heart to even say this. That's why I've never talked about it. But some people are accusing him of being a child pedophile or somebody who used to play with the kids. I wasn't there. I never seen nothing like that. Now, I'm not discrediting anybody who's a victim or anybody who said this really happened, it happened to them. I'm not trying to make you think I know and I was in his bed or I was in his room or I was around him to see stuff like that. Me, as a hip-hop fan, I only saw him at hip-hop functions, and he was a graceful man. And so I heard little rumors like this. It was news to me because I never seen nothing, never heard nothing. And so I just said, let me mind my business and stay out of it, because if I don't know it, if I can't stay there, if I can't stand there, if I can't see it, I can't really tell you what it is. Now, for the respect of what he did in Zulu Nation and all that, and I won't say, if it is proven that he's a child pedophile, that he's a piece of shit, he should die.
You heard that? But in the House of Consciousness, the so-called conscious community, people who are convicted of raping children, they get all the respect in the world. So there's a difference in perspective right here. It is noteworthy.
It's a fact. I've always told you that, not about him, about anybody who does that, right? I haven't seen him get locked up. I haven't seen him, and it's not too hard to take a black man to jail for some shit people are saying. It just ain't, right? So he hasn't got locked up. I haven't seen that, but I heard the rumors of people saying.
Now, maybe Fat Joe doesn't know, and if anybody knows Fat Joe, there is a report available on the website Hip Hop Stands with Survivors. So here's a link to the website right there. And on the website, you do have the report. And here is the link to the report. You don't even have to download it if you're scared of spyware. And on that report, we are told that there is a court proceeding, court case. Afrika Bambaataa has not responded, even though it was summoned. Isn't it strange that somebody would be accused of something like that and just not respond to the court? So maybe he will be found guilty by default. We'll see.
Saying that. So now we got a big problem. We got a hip hop museum that's run by Rocky, and the security, everybody's down. Look, everybody was down with each other. Even Fat Joe with Zulu Nation back in the days. Everybody was down with each other. So a lot of the people that are trying to preserve the culture at the museum are either really, really tight with Bambaataa or were very tight with him. I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about Ahmed. I'm talking about LG. I'm talking about Mickey Benson. I'm talking about everybody. Fat Joe was down with Zulu Nation. Okay, everybody. This ain't no okay. This ain't, I'm just saying everybody knew each other, right? And was down with each other, right? So now there's people saying, yo, let's stop the hip hop museum because these guys are cool with Bambaataa. These guys are this and this and this and this and that. Now we got the idea of, all right, do you stop the preserving of hip hop culture, the hip hop museum that people invested their whole lives into and gave up millions of dollars?
Nobody gave millions of dollars for that hip hop museum. It's taxpayers' dollars. Maybe some large organizations, corporations, but people did not put up millions of dollars for that hip hop museum. People want to say that certain people gave their lives to hip hop. They can say that, but let's keep it real. The main players of hip hop are the artists themselves, and the artists have been have been paid. It was their, for many, it was their livelihood. So it was a job. So we need to put that into perspective.
And went all out to get it done, to make the Bronx a destination across the country, to this, that, because this man might have did some ugly shit that we haven't proven yet. But because people that are involved with the museum know him or are cool with him, or haven't denounced him, they're starting to start the, you know, I'm going to City Hall, I got a complaint, I got a this. What will happen is, what always happens, say they shut the whole shit down, because these people saying, yo, I don't want Bambaataa's picture in there, I don't want him this, he did this and this and that.
Indeed, Bambaattaa has not been found guilty in any court of law as of yet, even though there are several testimonies. But when it comes to Weinstein, I don't think anybody would just have his pictures all around. Now, there is this court proceeding, like I was saying, and Bambaattaa has not responded. So it's up to the judge to make a decision and see what will be the next course of action. So very soon, most likely, the narrative is going to be different. We're going to deal with somebody who will be convicted. But I cannot predict the future, so let's wait and see.
You stop the museum. And this is why whenever people that look like us, speak like us, come from where we come from, try to do something, we shut it down. And so this is very, very, very situation because they're making a lot of noise out there. And I don't know what noise is because, you know, I told one of my friends the other day, my friend was asking me, you know, relationship advice and was like, you know,
Joe himself said that this situation with Bambaattaa is making a lot of noise. Some people act like they don't know anything, they haven't heard anything. Many Mail said that everybody knew about the rumors regarding Afrika Bambaataa. But you're going to hear something later on. It's going to be quite surprising to you all, I'm sure.
sensitive.
And it's not with this video, it's with some other one.
You know, my boyfriend, you know, sometimes he says jokes, but not to hurt me, but I'm just so sensitive. It bothers me. I'm not one of those people that laugh at the joke, especially when it's about me. And I told her, you must have not went on Twitter with me. Because if I go on Twitter right now, I'm a fat fuck. I'm a devil.
So that video is finished. We're going to move to the next video. It's going to be the rapper Immortal Technique talking about the Afrika Bambaataa situation. This time it comes from a larger platform entitled Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. It has 82,000 subscribers. So there are two albums that I've listened to when it comes to Immortal Technique. Industrial Revolution Volume 1 and Industrial Revolution Volume 2. He wrote a effing book about it. Who wrote a book, and a book is about what? So here's the link. Things get real when Immortal Technique is asked about Afrika Bambaataa. And I think one of my personal favorite song, I think my most favorite song is Industrial Revolution. I just love that sample, which is from Isaac Hayes. I like the prophecy. The beat is very nice in my opinion. Quite different, mesmerizing. And one of the most creative song I would it called Peruvian Cocaine? Peruvian coke. Yeah, Peruvian cocaine. Yeah, very creative song, very interesting song. It's not glorifying cocaine. I warn you. So let's listen to Immortal Technique. Uh, just want to say that for the record, I hope I'm not looking like a fiend, moving like that so much. But the main chair that I was having has some issues, so I'm supposed to receive some parts. Parts need to be changed. I cannot use it right now, so I was just so used to have the chair be so comfortable. Right now, I have a much slimmer chair, so it's like there's so much room. I'm less comfortable than the previous one. So just for the record. Now let's share this.
Yeah, we gotta remember this one thing, and then I'm gonna let it go. The police department and the police in general are part of a punitive system that we have in the United States. And what I mean by punitive is they punish people who do things wrong. Very rarely, and if they do, I can count it on my hand, have the police kicked in the door this year and stopped a woman from being raped. Very rarely do the police catch a bullet meant for someone else or stop someone right when they're about to shoot somebody.
Yep.
99% of the time, they go and find people that did something wrong and punish them so badly, right? Punish them so badly that it's supposed to send us a message not to do it anymore. And when I explain that to people, they ask, well, do they think it works? And I say it hasn't worked in 300 years. It hasn't worked in 400 years. It hasn't worked since the dawn of time. That's not how you help a people. That's not how you educate a people. That's not how you lift them up. That's how you oppress a people. That's it. We need peace officers. We don't need people patrolling us.
Fact. One more question, man.
Sure.
Gotta ask you about the Afrika Bambaataa. Those things have been going around. It's been a few years now. Where do you stand on that? I've been hearing your name around the internet.
I stand with the children. I stand with the victims. I have since day one. I made that 100% clear. I told all the OGs that I consider no man infallible. If somebody want to be upset with that, you know where the fuck I live. You know where I am. I'm not hard to find. And that's not a challenge. That's just me being honest, because I've seen everybody that's involved in this thing in one way or another. And the only person I haven't seen in respect to that is Bam. And that's because he knows he don't want to be seen here. And people are upset and they genuinely hurt. And as a person who lives in Harlem, I have to hold my head up high. I'm not a person who lives, and no disrespect to somebody who made it and lives somewhere else and he was in Beverly Hills, but now I got to walk around Harlem with my head held high. So I had to go talk to the people who this happened to. And this was several people that came to me and were like, yo, Technique, our names are being dragged in the mud. They're saying that we did this, that we made this up. And I listened to them, brother. And you know what they told me? They said, we don't want him dead. Right? We want him in the book. We want him in the registry. That's his punishment. And I said, oh, wow. And that's when I realized that I wasn't dealing with liars. I was dealing with people that were genuinely hurt. So I will always stand with the victim.
Guess what? This ordinary piece of paper can help
any abuse. So I will always stand with the victims of any abuse. And I say to people out there, it's not a hard choice to make. You know what I mean? And I get it. Somebody made a lot of contributions to it, but a person could lose their God status. No human being is infallible. Nobody is up against something. Listen, imagine if I do something great right now. Like I invent the cure for cancer, but like I kill somebody you love's child. That don't take that away, man. You know, like I did something terrible. I killed the child inside somebody. That's not something. And brother, I appreciate the question, because you know what? I'm never gonna run from stuff like that. And I'm actually disappointed that a lot of other brothers didn't make their voice known when it was time. But you know, I felt like the best place for me to have that conversation is when I went to Harlem and I did Cy Netta's channel and a bunch of the other like.
Now, if you happen to know Immortal Technique, please inform him that Cy Cheddar, that he just named, is a supporter of convicted rapists. He invites them on his panel. He actually even invites him in his own house to sleep there. So it goes deep. So, for example,
How about the mighty fucking Hebrew? This nigga went to jail for rape, dog.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga,
And that
don't
nigga
fuck
back
this.
in the community like everything good. Hebrews. Let's not forget the mighty Hebrew nigga, who you get constantly on your channel, who's on all the Hebrews channel. Don't forget the mighty Hebrew, the bald head nigga, been already incarcerated in prison for molesting a young child. He came home and they violated him again because the nigga was trying to fuck with another child. Everybody, hold on for a minute. Hold on for a minute. Time out, everybody. Time out. Let me say this real quick while you getting your pictures up there, brother.
Oh, it's already up
First
there.
thing I want to let the people know, I love my brother, the mighty Hebrew. Me and Hebrew, we go through our little beefs and fight, and brothers fight. The mighty Hebrew knows me personally. I know him. I know his family. He stayed at my house a few times. Him, his family.
so please let Immortal Technique know. He's Somalim. Sachet is Somalim. So you Sachet. Hope you can hear me because I have the red light, which means that most likely the battery is low. Let me check this. Yes, you can hear me. Good. I'm gonna plug it. But yeah, he's probably gonna tell him, man, that's an N-word from France. Don't listen to him. But I don't argue. I state facts. The facts are there. I've been sharing the facts. But he's a habitual liar. So, oh yeah, 15%. Okay. All right, let me just play it. Let's continue, but it's not going to be too long.
Specifically black media on YouTube. I was like, no, I'm gonna talk to y'all. I'm not talking to Rolling Stone. You know,
Right.
you never gave a fuck about us up here when all this was going on in the first place, right? And now you want to talk to him? I'm not talking to Fox. I've nothing to say to you. I want to talk to the black media, and I want to say to the kids, don't let anything dissuade you from coming out and telling people that bad things have happened. Okay? Don't let nobody tell you that you're not a man for speaking up about that. Don't let nobody control your voice. Like I taught in the prison.
You heard that? So all the B-made dudes, hold on. So all the B-made dudes who came like flunkies, pedo flunkies. Oh, don't talk about this. I wonder how they feel hearing that from Immortal Technique. And the hypocrites who go, oh, well, I'm here for the information. You're not sharing the information. All the videos about the information, never put a comment, never put a like, never shared it. But then they complain like their life stops because I'm talking about some topic that makes them uncomfortable. And we have to wonder why this topic makes them uncomfortable. The truth is, a lot of them have been molesting children, raping children, or molesting/raping women. And they're uncomfortable when we hear people going against that.
Like, true story. I went to prison, and then I taught in prison with Carmen Perez. And it was actually Harry Belafonte. Shout out to OG Harry Belafonte.
Okay. So I think at this point, we've heard enough. Now, this right here, you're going to have to buckle up, man. I just heard the beginning, and I stopped and I said, I'm going to discover with y'all. The thing you're going to hear from that individual, man, regarding Afrika Bambaataa, I don't think you ever heard it before. Because if any of you ever heard it before, I think you would have brought it up. I have to get prepared for this. Raheem of the Furious Five, on what he witnessed behind the curtain with Afrika Bambaataa. That's the title. This channel is Hip Hop News Uncensored. which has 855,000 subscribers. So they are close to the 1,000,000 subscriber mark. Man, what you going here, man? My goodness. Now, for those who don't know, the Furious Five, you have the group called Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Now, I only knew Melly Mel by name. I didn't know the other ones. Out of curiosity. Raheem is listed as one of the members, along with Scorpio, Kid Creole, Melly Mel, Keith Cowboy, and of course Grandmaster Flash. Now, Kid Creole, I heard about him in the news, and maybe some of you are as well. He was sentenced to prison. I think he killed somebody. I forgot if he stabbed the dude, but I mean, if I click on it, they're gonna clarify exactly. In May 2022, he was sentenced to 16 years in prison for manslaughter. Okay. So, are you ready? Are you prepared for what you're gonna hear? All right. Let's go.
What the powers that be are directing them to do. Because if they don't do that, they're threatened with, obscurity. We're not going to release your music. We're going to shelf you. We'll keep you signed. We won't let you out of your contract, and so you won't be able to record anywhere else. So if you want to be a recording artist, you're either going to record the music that we tell you to record, or you're not going to record anywhere until your contract is up. And God only knows when that is, because we're going to exercise every option and then some.
Yep. Then you mentioned Afrika Bambaataa. Over the last couple of years, I should say, there's been a lot of people that have been coming out on him saying that he may have been doing some stuff, with men and little boys, back in the day. Did you ever hear anything about that coming up? And did you hear about it recently?
Coming up, early on, I would say in the late 70s, I was one of the very few people from my neighborhood who could go to Bronx River Projects and not get robbed. And that was because one of my OGs, Spider, rest in peace, he treated me like I was his little brother, and he wouldn't allow any of the dudes from Bronx River to rob me. So because of that, whenever I would go to Bronx River, I would go there, like mind you, dudes from Bronx River would come around my neighborhood, Lambert houses, and rob everything and everybody. And the reason why they didn't rob me and my man Davey Waters and his older brother Steve was, one, because I was friends with Davey Waters and Steve, and they were from Bronx River, and two, because Spider was my OG. So I would go to Bronx River during times when Bambaataa would be doing block parties and stuff like that. And so I witnessed some things after a few jams when Bambaataa would be packing up his equipment. One time I vividly recall a few of the Gestapo crew, one of his most feared group.
Get ready now. Now, I don't know why they chose that name, but for those who don't know, the Gestapo, that's like the Nazi police, in Nazi Germany, who, but anyway, listen closely to what you're going to hear. I didn't say it. I did not even upload it. I found it on YouTube. This is once again a member of the rap group Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. The song entitled The Message, released in 1982. It's him, along with others. He's been around when it comes to hip hop, rap music. He's been around. It comes with the culture.
Of guys from the Black Spades. They were running up behind him while he was packing up his equipment, and they were smacking his ass and palming him. From the Black Spades of
the advert messed the momentum, but just reminded it, a little bit, a few seconds. Just listen. It is right now. You're gonna hear something. I'm telling you.
Of guys from the Black Spades. They were running up behind him while he was packing up his equipment, and they were smacking his ass and palming it as though he were a woman. And his response was very womanly. Stop, like, like a woman.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I'm gonna run that back just to make sure you heard what was said.
Groups of Gestapo crew, one of his most vividly recall, up his equipment, a few jams when Bambaataa would be packing up his equipment. One time I vividly recall a few of the Gestapo crew, one of his most feared groups of guys from the Black Spades. They were running up behind him while he was packing up his equipment, and they were smacking his ass and palming it as though he were a woman. And his response was very womanly. Stop, like, like a woman.
Now you heard it well. He said that Bambaataa's crew used to smack Bambaataa's buttocks, his behind, his bottom, and palming it. I did not even know that it was a verb, but we know what the palm is, so you have an idea. Let me see if this is really a verb, palming. Well, we do have the verb palm, to palm. KB wrote, "Greetings, Texas. What do you propose we do with those who were child victims and grow up to become adult monsters?" Christopher Davis wrote, "Zulu Kings too. They know about it." Now, Merriam-Webster, let's have a look. So you first have the definition, the noun. And we have the verb here. 1A, to conceal in or with the hand. Home card. AB, to take or pick up steadily. And 1C, to hand stealthily pawned him a dollar bill. And 3, to touch with the palm, such as to stroke with the palm or hand. 3b, to allow a basketball to come to rest momentarily in the hand while dribbling, thus committing a violation. So, you know, when you play basketball, if you hold it too long, that's a violation. So it means you're holding for a while if you're palming. And the response wasn't, "Get your hand on my buttocks, brother." The response was, they said, "Stop, stop," like a woman. So when you say like a woman, doesn't mean that women are cool with that in any way. It's just that, you know, the voice was soft. There's probably no bass. There was probably no bass in his voice. You know, there's probably a smile on his face. Maybe he winked as he said it. But let's continue. That's where I stopped. I was like, okay, I'm going to share this one tonight. For those who know the movie Superfly, that's why I go like this tonight. For those who've seen the movie, I ain't going to tell the young folks what this movie is all about. Let's continue. Not bad. Share it.
A woman, and his response was very womanly. Stop, stop, like, you know, like a woman. And so at that point, I then knew that he was a homosexual at best. But I mean, it was never my place to, you know, expose that publicly because, you know, homosexuality is not a crime. Last I checked, you know, it's just a matter of preference. You know, I'm a straight dude, you know, he's a homo. And so we obviously don't have that, you know, heterosexuality in common, right, or homosexuality in common. But I respected him because of his contribution to the culture, and he never came at me like that. I do know a few people who he did approach in that manner. And
what did he say?
A few people, and he never came at me like that. I do know a few people who he did approach in that manner.
He said it. He knows a few people who are approaching that manner by Afrika Bambaataa.
And unsuccessfully. And they shared that with me. They did not publicly out him, but others that he did that to, from, you know, as we see now, have. And did I know about them during the time when they were going through that abuse? No, absolutely not. Did I know about that, you know, he was imposing these sexual improprieties on young boys during that time? Well, because I was a young boy at that time, it didn't dawn on me at that time that what he wasn't a pedophile at that time, because he was around the same age as us, maybe a couple of years older. You know what I mean? So at that time in the 70s, it would not have been considered as pedophilia. It was just homosexuality. But moving forward, you know, today, I guess if he's, you know, engaging in, you know, sexual activity with, you know, young men who are, well, in New York, the consenting sexual age is 17. So if he's engaging in any sexual activities with any persons, male or female, under the age of 17, then that is considered pedophilia. But other than that, I would imagine that once they turn 17, that is a consenting age, and so you're not liable for any legal recourse as a result of that.
Yeah, well said. Now, there's a lot of rumors going on, and we appreciate anybody's perspective that has been around during that time and kind of has a perspective on that. One person that took backlash was the legendary KRS-One, who seemingly, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't want to say defended it, but almost kind of made, I don't know how I want to word it, but he pretty much just said, let's look past that and just look at the man for what he's done in hip hop. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that that's really, really insensitive to the people who were victimized. I think that doesn't really instill the confidence in victims, whether they were victimized by Afrika Bambaataa or whomever. Anyone that was privy to the message that KRS-One conveyed to the public at large as a result of Bambaataa's actions, to me, that implies that you have no
Approchez-vous. Il marche encore.
No empathy for these people who sustained this life-altering and heinous act. I don't think that was cool, and I don't know, the justification. I don't know the reasoning behind it. I have my own personal thoughts as to the reasoning, but it's not something that I care to share publicly because I don't.
I want to catch that.
The reasoning, but it's not some personal. The reasoning act. People who sustained this life-altering and heinous act. I don't think that was cool, and I don't know, the justification. I don't know the reasoning behind it. I have my own personal thoughts as to the reasoning, but it's not something that I care to share publicly because I don't want anyone to accuse me of being a hater or being homophobic or any of that. But I do have a moral compass, and I do have a conscience, and so when I see people sustaining such heinous, like when I see people going through these things and they come out of it, affected, and then the people who are the culprits, they act as though they're innocent, or they don't have any kind of sympathy for the people who sustain these crimes at their hands. To me, it says something about the culprit, Bambaataa, and it says something about KRS-One. You might have to look a little deeper to recognize it, because a lot of us are jaded by the the smoking mirrors that that are the culture, the cultural backdrop that many of us wear every day. And so a lot of us aren't being held accountable for the things that we do in everyday life because of the fact that we've contributed, in such a profound way culturally. So, but to me, that doesn't negate us from being accountable.
My inspiration is just flowing and coming.
All right, that was it. Now, there's another one that I was about to play, but I changed my mind. Just going to show you and share the link. Well, you know what? I'm going to play. I hope it's not going to be too long before he says what we have on the title. Ron Savage, also known as B Stinger. Ron stands for Ronald. He went publicly saying that Bambaataa molested him. And from last I heard, he said, well, Bambaataa didn't know how old I was, because I lied about my age. I'm like, all right. So because you lied about your age, it's no longer a molestation? So did you go, what's going on? As you can see, this is from Doggy Diamonds, who has 249,000 subscribers, and the title says, Ron Savage, Afrika Bambaataa made me do it with my sister's boyfriend.
Diamonds, you already know Doggy Diamonds TV. I got a special guest here with me today. Y'all might have seen him on different platforms doing interviews and stuff like that. Tell the people your name.
Yeah, Ronald Savage. They call me B Stinger.
B Stinger. And where do the people know you from? Unfortunately,
the Bambaataa scandal.
Yeah, the Bambaataa scandal. I brought you here today. I'm one of the organizers of the press conference. How did the press conference help you?
It definitely helped me in a way of reaching the people and letting them, know everything that happened, because hearing it on Star Show and then hearing it, reading it in the Daily News, and a lot of platforms, they took everything from the Daily News report, and they didn't really hear it, from me, other than that first time that I did it with, on Star Show.
Yeah.
And when I did it on Star Show, I had just finished breaking down.
So
I didn't really get it, everything out, the way I wanted to. And prior to doing the recording, I had got a call from Ahmed Henderson.
And who is that?
And Ahmed Henderson is Bambaataa's manager, and he's the manager of the Zulu Nation. And Ahmed is like a real close friend of mine. That's like my brother.
Okay.
And Ahmed was one of them who went on Star Show when Bambaataa lied and said that he didn't know me. Ahmed straightened it out and said that Bam was lying, that he does know B Stinger. But I had got a call from Ahmed, and because I was tweeting, because at that time I was just thinking about all my relationships and everything that happened to me in the past, and it was either I was gonna get it out, or you wouldn't even been talking to me right now.
So you thought about actually hurting yourself?
Yeah, I tried to commit suicide 2 times before, from all the stuff that's in me, and Ahmed had asked me if I can do him a favor and take the tweets down.
What year was this? Recent?
Yeah, this was right. This was the same day that I did the interview with Star.
Okay.
He had asked me to take the tweets down, because I was just at my computer and I was just tweeting everybody that Bambaataa molested me when I was 15 years old. I just had to get it out. It's just, I think it was a calling from God.
So here, that's interesting, because he says that he tweeted that Bambaataa molested him when he was 15 years old. So he feel lied about his age. Like, was he 12 and he pretended to be 15 years old? There's something strange here.
You know, because for me to bug out like that and just do that, that was crazy.
So give me the understanding. Maybe the people want to understand. This happened to you over 30 years ago.
Right. 35.
35 years ago. Have you been over the years dealing with mental health issues based on what happened?
I could say yeah. I mean, it affect me in a way, especially like with relationships.
Yeah.
You know, with females and like my ex-wife, other prior girls that I had, you know.
Did they
prior to
know?
my
You never
wife.
told them?
Every single girl that I dealt with, I told.
Okay.
There's not one girl that dealt with me that I didn't tell, because I had, I guess, intimacy issues or whatever. I didn't like to hold hands. It felt weird. It felt, I don't know, just nasty to me. I wasn't snuggling in the bed when other dudes, you know, when you got your girl and you snuggling in the bed and all that, you know, I missed out on shit like that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know, man. And then when I'm having sex, it'll stay up and it'll go down. You know what I'm saying? And I would be thinking about that Bambaataa shit. And, you know, I mean, that's just how it really affected me. And, you know, me, like now, like ever since that happened, well, not ever since, well, you know, maybe when I got maybe like 19 or whatever, you know, I just started withdrawing from everyone and I just started hanging with myself because I don't trust people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, your trust was broken from one of the people you trusted the most.
Yeah.
You know, trauma, something that can haunt you. I mean, I was falsely accused. People try to portray me like a monster because there are some disgusting Pan-Africans, different rapists and pedophiles. So I touched on that, you know. Mother of my child accusing me of beating her. You know, she had injuries that was stated by I don't know if I should say legal doctor. But basically, when a complaint is filed, when it comes to the injuries, it's not just any doctor that you will see in the city or in town. It has to be a doctor from hospital that will examine the person and say, okay, these injuries warrant so many days of work, you see. And when I think about all the lies that people told, I responded to different allegations, different accusations, sadly for me, because they went on the flagging campaigns and my videos were flagged. And I didn't like the fact that the videos of people lying on me were there when the videos of me responding and refuting the lies were not there, you see? But sometimes I think about it. I think about those bastards who defend rapists and pedophiles and try to portray themselves as good people when there are some bastards and thieves as well, and professional liars. It's just disgusting, man. It's just disgusting, you know, because you have a lot of people on this planet who don't run around and act like they are, you know, high and mighty and holier than thou, or revolutionaries or warriors or freedom fighters, but they are good people. But you have those piece of doo-doo who are some low-life bastards who act like they are doing work for the people. It disgusts me, man. So I think about it quite often, you know what I'm saying? Now, a fair bit of them, they don't have anything going on for themselves now, but some of them manage to make a living out of being bastards while claiming to be down for the black cause. You know what I'm saying? Just like today we have with Scam Cheddar, the Punk Butler, and other scammers. I mean, they're lying to you on a regular basis. And still they get support of people. And the most surprising recently is you've seen how they're supporting and inviting convicted rapists, man. But anyway, that was just in passing.
And the only person that I trusted was myself.
Well, what I want you to say is that you can only imagine the trauma of somebody who was sexually abused. You can only imagine. Sorry.
So did it drive you to drinking, drug use, or anything like that?
I never drunk, never did weed and all that. It didn't drive me that way. It just drove me to
being a recluse.
Yeah, I used to just look out the window and just chill with myself.
So let me ask you something. Your name was B Stinger. What did you do in music?
When I was younger, it was a girl that lived in my building named Denise. That was DJ Jazzy J's girlfriend. And
Okay.
Jazzy J, that's Bambaataa's DJ.
Yeah.
And me and him, we clicked because I had a crush on Denise's little sister, Laverne.
Okay.
Ever since I was in the first grade. So, when I'm out there speaking, I usually, talk about that. And then just from there, just hanging out with Jazzy. And one day Jazzy played in the park in the back of my building. And, that's when I got to meet the rest of the members from the Zulu Nation Council, the original Zulu Nation Council. And my sister had hooked up with one of the members from the Zulu Nation Council. And, we just clicked from there. And, the nickname B Stinger came from them, from the Zulu Nation. They're the ones that gave me the nickname, because prior to that, I wasn't really, my parents, they kept me, my sister, and my little brother, they kept us sheltered. So we wasn't the type of kids that be out there and rah, 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 and this and this and that. I wasn't like that, and, that's when I just started hanging out with them. And they used to say, yeah, I'll be trying to sting girls like a bee. So they was like, yeah, let's call him B Stinger, and if you ask Busy B would say, he gave me that name. And, because, when Busy did the record, Old School, he gave me a shout out at the end of the record.
Wow.
And then from there, that's when people started really hearing the B Stinger along with the Masters of Ceremony. They gave me a shout out in the record too. Yeah.
That's Grand Pooba.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't know that.
Yeah.
So
for those who don't know Busy B, you have the documentary by Quincy Jones Jr., or QD3 as he's known in the industry. Beef, and I think it is number one because he had at least two. I don't know if he had three volumes, but Beef DVD. Damn, think of DVDs, man. It's like we don't really see that anymore. Like at the time we had DVDs, we wouldn't see VHS tapes anymore. Now you have live streamings and stuff like that. Live streaming, But anyway, Busy B had a very famous rap battle with Kool Moe Dee, and that changed the dynamics of hip hop. It's interesting. It's interesting to know. But anyway, that was in passing.
that's why Lord Jamal said, we know B Stinger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like you can't, like back in them days, there's no way in the world that you didn't know B Stinger.
When I saw Bambaataa do the interview with Lisa Evers,
right,
I said he is sucker. I was like, yo, you should have came before, because reason why I felt like that, because we called for him to come before us because we was protecting him for so long. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna tell you right here, I thought you was lying.
Right.
I was like, yo, come on, man, you trying to take down one of the founders of hip hop, man. You fucking lying. But when Bambaataa didn't come to us, I felt like I can't protect him no more.
Right.
We can't protect him because he ran to the enemy that he said was the enemy. And then he lawyered up, and you're supposed to be sovereign as a Moor, and then you lawyered up. So it was so many things that he did.
That was a safe platform for him.
Exactly.
And
because I would have grilled him.
And the same thing with Ed Lover. In my mind right now, Ed Lover was a sucker.
Damn.
To me. And I knew that brother for a long time. You know, Moni, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not even gonna speak on that.
But look though, Moni
Zulu.
I was about to say that. See, people don't know that. Moni Love has ties to that.
So my thing is, Bam went there to try to say, and he did say that he didn't know me. And Ed Lover, you a sucker for that, because Ed knows that Beast Stinger's from the Zulu Nation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they let it rock like that. Moni too. They let it rock. They let it go down like that because
Thank you, Vivette. Oh, I was talking in the air. So, like I was saying, Chris, please hold on. I want to finish playing that stuff and then we can chop it up. Um, I just saw a trailer regarding the BlackBerry phone, and so they made a movie about it, just like they made another movie about the Nike Air Jordan, featuring Ben Affleck among other people, and I think Viola Davis plays Michael Jordan's mother. I saw a headline saying that Michael Jordan himself chose her to portray his mother in the movie. But anyway, don't be surprised if a few years from now, because we also had a movie about Tupac called All Eyes on Me, and the movie about Biggie. I forgot the title. Notorious, I think the title was, but the Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, also known as Frank White. He got the name Frank White from that movie with Christopher Walken. And it's from that movie that, sometimes I say, you're all welcome, there's a scene where he says that. But don't be surprised if you have a movie about Afrika Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation and the issue of the molestation, you know what I'm saying? And then, maybe they're going to have some people portraying these, conscious mess channels that supports rapists and child molesters. Who knows, man? So I'm going to say to people, play your cards right. And for all the people who came here and say, oh, that's gossiping, you know what I'm saying? If some people are convicted, end up in jail and look it bad, don't think you're going to suck your way in and then act like, oh, I was being against this, because we have you on record. We have you, capping for these individuals. But anyway, that was just in passing.
They probably figured, just like everyone else figured,
it would go
that
away.
That knew that it would go away. And we're going to get to that later on.
Yeah.
They figured that it would go away because, it was always rumored that Bambaataa was gay, this and that, and it disappeared. But this right here was not going to disappear. This was meant to happen at the time it happened. So when Bam was on Ed Lover show saying, why now? Why now? You know what I'm saying? You got to ask God that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because God gave me the strength to do what I'm doing, and then for him to turn around and then say on the Ed Lover show that he doesn't know Ronald Savage, but he know damn well Ronald Savage is Beast Stinger because I knew Bam since I was 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? But then when you get on Lisa Evers' show, now you know me.
Yeah. People didn't put two and two together
either. So my thing is like brother, like you must be getting senile. Like whatever lie you gonna stick to, stick.
Yeah. People didn't put two and
Lisa Evers' show, now I was 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? But then when you get on Lisa Evers' show, now you know me.
Yeah. People didn't put two and two together
either. So my thing is like brother, like you must be getting senile. Like whatever lie you gonna stick to that lie. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just crazy because that's God again. When Bam sat there and said that he didn't know me, then the flyer came out.
Yeah. I saw the flyer. Yep.
You know,
I was like, well, nail in the coffin.
Yeah, you know, that was back when I was in high school.
What year was that flyer?
I believe it was 80, 82, something like that.
I was
You see what I'm saying? And my thing is that was with the Jazzy 5 MCs. And Mr. Freeze, you know, big up to Mr. Freeze from the Jazzy 5 MCs. You know, that's another Bambaataa group that did the record. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Can you feel it? My Jazzy Sensation.
Yeah, from Funky Sensation. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you know, he had that flyer. And then from there, I guess people that knew Freeze, that knew the flyer was on his page, it just went crazy from there worldwide. Everybody just snatched it and boom, boom, boom. So right there, you know, people knew that Bam lied. So my thing is, if you can lie about that, then you can lie about anything.
What I wanted to ask you is, when you first broke the story, or when you first got the courage to tell the story, who did you go to first?
What do you mean? Who
Did you go to Star first?
Oh yeah, Star was the first.
Did you attempt to go to anybody else first?
I was tweeting at the time because I was upset. I was just tweeting to anybody who would listen.
Oh, okay.
But to answer your question, to say if Star was the first person in the world that I told, no.
As far as media, was it?
Oh,
did you try to go to anybody else and they was like, "Fuck out there, I ain't touching that."
Nah, Star jumped on it.
Salute to Star for that, man. He definitely was helpful.
You remember Scam Cheddar trying to claim that, you know, he was the first one who broke that story, but Hassan Campbell, you know, verbally violated him for trying to cap and lie. But that was in passing.
In this whole exposure of the situation. So let's fast forward. We do the press conference. The thing that I liked about the press conference is people came to me and was like, thank y'all for doing that, because now I have the courage to speak about my experiences,
right,
and face the people who molested me. I was molested also, and it was men, grown ass diesel dudes. It was women. It was a lot of people. So that's why I felt that was a good thing, because we actually help people to move forward, because the first healing process is to speak on it, right?
Right, exactly.
That's what heals you. So did they ever make attempts on your life? Meaning that, did they ever threaten you? Did they ever say, yo, you better not say nothing? Did they ever offer you money not to speak?
See, this is another thing that people have to realize, and if you follow everything that was happening when I first came out, and you know, I told what happened to me. If somebody was lying or whatever, the Zulu Nation, they would have jumped all over that day one.
Didn't they originally accuse you?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah,
because I'm gonna tell you, if somebody says something about me, I'm going to you day one, like 30 seconds after you say it.
Yeah, especially some shit like that.
You know what I'm saying? But with them, you see how long it took, because behind the scenes, they were trying to get me to meet with Bam. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to make it go away. Saladin, I said I wasn't gonna name no names, but
I could blur it out.
Yeah, you know, they put it to me in a way like, you know, they wanted me to retract my story. And I felt, you know, with the phone call, you know, it was like you was gonna retract the story or something was gonna happen to you.
Oh.
So
trying to like shake you up a little bit.
Yeah,
Scare tactics.
And I knew these cats since I was young. So their scare tactics to me turned into me being like, you know what, is really on now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing was, it didn't scare me, it encouraged me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then they offered me money. You know what I'm saying?
I've missed it, you know. You better roll. Doug Diamonds was also molested. Andrea Brunet said that's what he said, you know. So let me just go back. I want to hear that.
No, you know, somebody told what happened to me. If somebody was lying or whatever, the Zulu Nation, they would have jumped all over that day one.
Didn't they originally accuse you?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you, if somebody says something about me, I'm going to you day one, like 30 seconds after you say it.
Yeah, especially some shit like that.
You know what I'm saying? But with them, you see how long it took, because behind the scenes, they were trying to get me to meet with Bam. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to make it go away. Saladin, I said I wasn't gonna name no names, but
I could blur it out.
Yeah, they put it to me in a way like, they wanted me to retract my story. And I felt, with the phone call, it was like you was gonna retract the story or something was gonna happen to you.
Oh.
So
trying to like shake you up a little bit.
Yeah,
Scare
tactics. And I knew these cats since I was young. So their scare tactics to me turned into me being like, you know what, is really on now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing was it didn't scare me, it encouraged me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then they offered me money. You know what I'm saying?
So if it was a money thing, you would have took the money and been quiet.
I'm gonna put it like this. I got a phone call. And if you want, we can play the phone call now. It doesn't bother me. But my thing is, to the two people that I, the Zulu Nation
says to speak on it, right?
Right, exactly.
That's what heals you. So a grown ass, now I have the prison. So let's touch on that.
No question. I was body Star Wars.
Did you try to go to anybody else and they was like, fuck, he was helpful in this?
Star jumped on it.
Exposure of the situation. So let's fast forward. We do the press conference. The thing that I liked about the press conference is people came to me and was like, thank y'all for doing that, because now I have the courage to speak about my experiences,
right,
and face the people who molested me. I was molested also, and it was men, grown ass diesel dudes. It was women. It was a lot of people. So that's why I felt that.
Maybe he was talking about him. It sounds like he was talking about him, because he said that some people came to him and thanked him for the press conference because they were molested. But then he said, I was molested also. So I don't know if he's quoting the person who was talking to him, but it sounds to me indeed like he said that he was molested also. The rap MC Sean, who had that very famous rap battle with KRS-One, he also revealed publicly that he was molested. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson also revealed publicly that he was molested also, so that happened to so many people. What I'm trying to do...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, feel free, brother. How you doing, Chris?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I'm not going to try to speak loud. I don't want to be too loud over the microphone. Again, I was molested too by men, molested by women. This is something that we need to speak about in the Black community. Stop sweeping this under the rug. I got children, and if anything happens to my children, I'm either going to die or I'm going to jail. Straight up. I got over 10 nieces and nephews. Like, the way the brother was speaking, he was talking about himself. He wasn't talking about Bee Stinger. You could tell the way he was speaking. Mike Tyson, he became the way he was because of what he went through. MC Shan, and there's many others, and there's so many. Why do you think so many of our sisters in the community become strippers and things like that? They've been over sexualized since they've been children. Crazy stuff. You got to watch cousins, uncles, brothers. Like, we need to take more control of our community, and it's not a joke. You know what I mean? Like, we have to, because it's psychologically damaging. And I don't like what somebody said in the chat, that I guess what they I'm trying to word it right, and I apologize, and no disrespect to them, that they were saying that people that were hurt as children hurt people. Heck no, that is always not the case. because you have many people that do not do that have been hurt as children. Like, you know, like you don't do that. You don't take it there, you know? But let's continue, Shaka. I'm sorry, I just wanted to point that out.
No, it's all good, brother. It's all good. But you're right. We need to talk about this. And my son, um, I did tell him at one point that like he shouldn't be touched, and you know, in his parts and stuff like that, you know. And I thought way early that, you know, when he's gonna have the age to understand, and you know, it's good for me to tell him, okay, it's not cool for somebody to touch you in your private areas, you know, in your buttocks, in your around the testicles and stuff like that, you know, the penis. Now my daughter is only 3 years old, so she would not understand. But you know, when she will be a bit older, then I'm gonna have to. And it's sad that we have to talk about this, you know,
But
because
I'm gonna just say this:
yeah,
even
go
when I
ahead,
was a
brother.
young child, you knew when it felt uncomfortable. You naturally knew that it wasn't right.
Yeah, it's true. But I presume if a child is with an adult, and you know, particularly a family member or friend of a family, somebody that you look up to or see as a father figure, as a responsible person, you may feel uncomfortable, but you know, you may not really have the.
You don't understand it.
Yeah, you don't understand. Some the children may not speak, you know, maybe, and
I'll say this:
so mhm.
you need to worry more about your family members than strangers. Trust me.
Probably because they have more access to your children, you know.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
at this in this day and age, you know what I'm saying? I guess it's safe to just tell our children, you know what I'm saying? Look, uh, like grandpa, grandma can bathe you, but you know, people should not be, you know, touching too long those parts of that, you know, because you may not need to be explicit and go into details. Just tell them, you know, uh, these private parts here, you know, people should not be playing with it, you know, because unfortunately, you know, we have some people who do this kind of stuff, you know,
But the
and
thing
it's
is
just
that
sad.
some people got to understand, Shaka, is that all right. It's like even like in the black community, going to therapy is taboo. You
Yes,
know,
it's true. It's true.
I've tried therapy, you know, various times. You know, um, but people don't realize it's always like sometimes the parents know it's the uncle, it's the cousin, it's the brother, it's the sister that are causing these things. You know, and we just sweep it under the rug, but we don't realize the psychological damage that it creates even into mature adulthood, you know? Because something you can repress something so hard in your mind as a child, but when you get older, then you wonder why you have certain behaviors. You know, some of our sisters they wonder why they're so over sexualized. You know, same with our men too. You know, we gotta, dude. I love what you're doing, bro. This is dope. I love what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you, brother. It is important, you know, and I'm sharing usually what people write in the comments, you know, because lately people don't really come that much. It's not really flat to make excuses for child molesters, but there are comments, and I'm not going to share all of them, but I just want people to see the reaction, you know what I'm saying? And I don't care if there's less people coming on the platform, you know what I'm saying? I stand on principles, and in no way, shape, or form should we be here making excuses for people raping men, women, or children, you know what I'm saying? That's like, it's getting ridiculous, you know, because not only the black community, but the so-called Pan-African or conscious community as well. They just want you to talk about everything that's positive. They don't want to talk about the negative. You know what I'm saying? And the negative is a reality. We need to be realistic, you know? And there's
And
negative and
that's what I went.
negative. I mean, yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and that's what I want to say. Like, no, you're right. They want to create a false narrative, like just all right. It's like almost like in Asia or like in Freemasonry, where you have yin and yang, and you have the white and black checkered floor, right? That represents positive and negativity. You know, so to just try to be positive all the time, you're not being realistic. We got to speak about the bad stuff too. Because if we're not doing that, then the positivity stuff, you might as well throw all that out the window.
Yeah, because when the negative comes, then how you gonna act? What you gonna do? So you know those guys are really doing the utopia. I mean, we talk about Kemet. They say, "Oh, you guys are talking about utopia, utopic society with no slavery." they get that from a theological document. But
Hey,
those same
you got the
Hebrew
same book
Israelites,
I got, Shaka.
which
No,
one?
I'm sorry. Finish, Shaka. You finish.
Oh
You finish.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. But we know the same Hebrew Israelites who claim slavery in Kemet because of a theological book. They're the ones who have a doctrine that it's okay to have sex with a girl as long as she has a period. Well, period. Whether she's 15 or 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? We have some grown men saying that. But go ahead, brother Chris.
Yeah, and one thing I don't want to get into it too. Like I said, I remember a Jewish scholar, a European Jewish scholar, stated even in the Talmud that they were allowed to have sex with a 3-year-old child. Okay,
I've heard that before, but I
yes,
didn't read it yet. But
no,
eventually,
it's in there. It's in there. And
Oh,
then
you
in
read
New
it
York
yourself?
City, I didn't get the text, but he pulled it out. I watched the documentary.
Oh, I see.
The dude pulled it out and read it himself.
But
You know?
I'd rather check it myself,
Yeah,
just to make sure.
and I
Yeah.
agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not slandering things. So
Yeah.
allegedly, this is
And I
out
think,
there.
I think I heard maybe it was 3, but from my recollection, it's like 2 years old. But it's more or less the same. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, it's all the same.
I would want to make sure and
Yeah,
see.
but
But
it's in.
feel free.
But if anything, anybody, if it's in a Talmud, it's almost like I said before. I think I spoke on the show. It's like how you have the Quran, and then you have the Hadith, right? And then you have the Torah, and you have the Talmud.
The Talmud, yes.
Yeah, so it's like extra books, beyond that.
Yes,
Which I
it's
read
true.
that. Yeah.
It's true. It's
Like,
true.
yeah.
But some people are being very slick because, for example, you quote something from the Quran that's inconvenient. Like, for example, Muhammad marrying Aisha when she was 6 and consummating the marriage when she was 9. And they're going to say that's not the Quran, as if they only follow the Quran. They follow the Hadith as well. Quran is not a
Actually,
biography of Muhammad. A lot of things
a
that
lot of
Muslims
Muslims
do
I know.
observe come from the Hadith. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. A lot of Muslims I know, like especially the ones that are like from what we allegedly call the Middle East, they follow the Hadith more than the Quran.
Well, they may not word it that way because the Quran is ultimately the holy book as far as they're concerned. But indeed, a lot of the practices of Muslims around the world have been
Matter of fact, while we talking about it, I'm gonna say it.
I've been directed by the Hadith. But go ahead, brother.
I had one of my best friends growing up. He joined the military. He went to war. I'm gonna tell you the stuff that he saw that they did in the Middle East. He saw bestiality, homosexuality, pedophilia, like all kinds of stuff. There's a practice. I don't want to say the name wrong, but they will have a young boy dressed as a woman.
The Dancing Boys of Afghanistan. There was
Yep.
a documentary about
You know,
this.
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, bro, it's all crazy.
They have some sort of not auction but bidding. They're
Yeah,
basically
no, they
fighting,
bid on them.
not
They
physically,
sit in a circle
but
and they let the child dance in the middle.
like I want him home. They want to get
Yep.
the child home. And I remember,
Yeah,
and I talked
bro.
about this before. There's that
Yep.
guy who was a Taliban, because we think about the Taliban, we think about guys who fight against the West and stuff like that. Those guys who fought against the Russians and stuff like that. But he was asked, because he's one of those guys who used to, but it would be considered sex trafficking in the West, but he's
No, it is,
basically
and even like with
supplying.
Bambaataa.
Yeah, he's supplying those
And
young
this even
boys.
goes,
Yeah,
and this goes
yeah.
with Bambaataa. So what he would do is he would bring young teenage boys over to his house. He would have homosexual images and pictures and would show them and would be watching porn, and he would have these boys play with him and he would play with them. And this is allegedly the golden, like, what I wouldn't say the golden age, but dude, this whole hip hop stuff, man, like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
And you know what? The documentary is on YouTube, so I'm going to share it, man. I mean, some people don't have no idea, and those are Muslims. Now, this guy, this supplier of young boys, he's asked, do you sleep with them? He goes, if they want to, I do. If they don't want to, I don't. And that's the Taliban. So here you have the documentary.
And they sleep with animals too.
Well, that's like I don't want to say like exactly a worldwide phenomenon.
No, no,
I
it's
don't
not.
think
It's
yeah,
not. But I just know from a very good source, like I said, was there. He said if you saw the stuff I saw, Chris, you would go crazy.
but actually one of the reasons why some will resort to homosexuality or bestiality is because to get near a woman, they basically need to have money and get married. So that's one of the reasons why some of those guys we just you know feel like by any means necessary to satisfy their urges.
You're
But you know
right.
what?
You're
I'm
right.
gonna play that excerpt here with that oh F it, if they flag it, they flag it. Uh, Let me play that excerpt here. You can see what it looks like.
Yep. This is the video.
ملایم بود با جانش کاغذ با دست لبانش با جانی بچه زنه قطی کالای کتانش نشان به جایت بشناسم آقایت کباب بریان کدی بچه ملنگایت ما باشم تو باشی هر کسی دیگر نباشه اینقدر مستن یا با جانان میرسن بلکه دریا میشن
Hold up, Shaka. Can you hear me?
Yeah. The guy
Look.
said, "I'll either reach my lover or drown in the river." But go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
And then in Islam, you can say drunken love or whatever, but drunkenness is forbidden in Islam. So you can see that they're trespassing everything that's allegedly in their Quran, And bro, like I said, like thank you for showing this, Shaka, because this shows that I wasn't making this up. Like this
Yeah,
is
it's
real.
important.
These
It's
men
important.
really
And
do this stuff, man.
oh man, and that's Afghanistan, man. I mean, it's not just
Yeah.
any country, No.
And they kill the women for the smallest things.
Yeah. That's weird.
Think about that.
And bear in mind, they had a crew, a team of journalists doing a documentary. They're here grinning in front of the cameras, which means it's a practice that goes like I don't know how many centuries or years, but it's
That's
they're
what I'm saying.
official
This
with it.
probably went on. Yeah, this probably went on for like,
Oh man,
shoot, I'm
so
gonna throw a
long.
random number out there, like 500, 600, 800 years.
I
They've
wouldn't be
been doing
surprised.
this
I wouldn't be surprised at
way
all.
before Islam.
That guy's a trainer, man. Training the boys. This man. I want to put my head on your tender breast. You have to see it to believe it, man.
And you know why this pause it for a second,
Yes.
Shaka?
Mm.
So this isn't surprising to me because there is a verse in the Quran. I'll find it. I remember reading it and it kind of like bewildered me when I was younger because I did convert to Islam when I was younger, but obviously I'm not Islamic anymore. I'm straight Kemetic. But I remember reading when it was like your male friend or a friend with a male is closer to being close with the female. And I always thought that was strange. Oh, I'm gonna find that verse. Oh,
For
I'm gonna
sure,
find
for
that
sure.
verse.
For sure. But I think it's I don't think it's in the Quran, it's in the Hadith, but it talks about, like in paradise, like you have some boys serving you. You know, I'm not claiming that means anything sexual, but
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, but it's the same thing like in ancient Rome. If anyone's seen the movie Caligula,
mm,
where they try to the Caesar, the king, how he had his little boy fishes and things like that. This is all the same.
but Greece and Rome, I mean, the homosexuality was like the norm. It's part of the culture, like and
But they try to hide it in Islam.
well, for understandable
Actually,
reasons.
honestly, I don't even think they're hiding it because this is pretty open documentary.
But here they're not. But most of them will actually hide it. But
Yeah, they
you
will.
see, next this road eventually they'll be extinct. But you can think about that regarding people who are homosexual, strictly homosexual, not bisexual. But a lot of them, they do groom people, and sometimes they offer money. A lot of people
They
went
do.
into homosexuality because they were offered money and they were from very poor background. You know what I'm saying?
And
So,
one
but
thing people
anyway.
got to realize too, what they're doing is, um, it can be an older boy or even a younger boy. Most time, I'm pretty sure it's a younger child than that. But like you said, they're training him, grooming him, and a bunch of men with money will sit around and they're bidding, on this young boy.
Yeah, and I hope they're gonna show when they are bidding. They're close to the like they're gonna be from what I remember from that documentary. They're literally arguing about who's gonna take the boy home, like almost ready to
Oh no,
fight. But
yeah,
let's
I
see.
remember that part too. I remember that
Yeah,
part
yeah,
too.
yeah. I have that in my mind. You know what I'm saying? I talk to somebody at work. I have many of my colleagues, if not most of my colleagues, are Muslims, and they were like. Kind of uncomfortable and they didn't know about this, you know what I'm saying? But I gave them the title of the documentary in French and English, but I'm sure they're not gonna check it out. It's kind of
I don't know
thing
how
they
the
won't
hell I
check out.
found this, but this was like a couple years ago. But
Oh
I'm
man, I
glad
saw
you
that
got
about
it and they
10
didn't
years ago, I
delete it.
think. I was
Yeah,
still
yeah,
living in
this
England,
is old. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
old.
yeah, it is,
Yeah.
it is indeed, Why don't you come? He's in love with you. He will die. He will die for you. Will he go with you tonight? Yes. How many boys have you had? For me, it's unlimited, maybe 2,000 or 3,000. My goodness. My nephew. They come and go. They come and go. You have any good memories? Yes. What memories? Lots. I enjoy watching them.
Look at his eyes. He looked
You
like he
have
fell
a special interest
in
in
love.
them? Yes. What did you say, brother? Okay, I thought you.
I said you can
You
look
hear
at
me?
this man's eyes. He looked like he fell in love with a young teenager.
Oh, it's for real, man. For real. And here he says no when he's asked, do you have sex with them? He knows he's lying.
And he just told on himself.
There's been an
Lying
argument.
like shit.
Some of the other men want to take the boy home.
You see, brothers, we're not making it up, but these kind of things you need to show. You know what I'm saying? You can show better than you can say. Some people are going to be like, you're capping. Yeah, go ahead if you bet it.
Yo, this is exactly this. I mean, this is basically the same thing Bambaataa was doing, man. This is the same thing. I mean, here it's under the religious guise, and maybe,
But Bambaataa is Muslim, though.
right? Yeah, that too. That's what I'm saying. And look, they're hanging around in a room, a bunch of guys. Then they got the little boy there, and they sitting around. Some of those guys. Because if you try to put yourself in a situation, let's try to put our brain in Bambaata's house, right? How would they be acting? They kind of act. This is like a similar kind of, yeah, go play, do this, or they just having fun hanging out, man. One guy's playing the guitar. We tend to give these people a lot of, what do you call it, religious credit, or cultural credit, because they're conservative in some of the ways. It looks conservative, like yeah, they sitting down in a circle playing the guitar. Nah, this is just how they get down, man. They do everything in a circle with a guitar. You know what I'm saying? If they in the middle of the mountains, that's how they do it. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the turntables and breakdancing. That's how Bambaataa got down.
Right.
It's the same thing.
You know what I'm saying? At Bambaataa's house,
Yeah,
it's a
show me
weight
how
to
you
the
dance.
turntable.
Show me your moves. Oh man, you dance
Right.
well, man. I mean,
That's what I'm
the
saying,
report,
man.
from the
Straight
report, he
up.
used to congratulate the boys on their physique and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And maybe Bambaataa
Exactly.
didn't go to South Africa alone. Maybe he went to Afghanistan or some other Asian country, man. Like
Hey, I
Google
heard
search.
he did. I heard he did travel out of the country before.
Yeah, and the Google search was showing that the most like female porn, gay porn, that was in Asian countries, Muslim countries, man. The most search, you know what I'm saying? But I've shared that before,
Yes.
man. And if my memory doesn't fail me, because of the argument that guy, the trainer, is gonna be like, okay, F it, since you guys are arguing, and he ain't going home with none of you. But probably it's because he doesn't want to make any of these guys mad, and he's gonna try, organize like, okay, you're gonna have him that week and that week and that week. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, feel
Right.
free if you better.
Well, and then what else is like? Oh, right. I was watching one of these Layla Wills things, and the brother Gabar, right? I don't know if you know who that is, right? He's
The
he's
Latino
a
guy
real
with the hat.
yeah. I don't know if he's Latino, but maybe he is, right? But
Oh yeah, maybe
for
he
what
speaks. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know what he is, but anyway, it's that guy, brother Gabar. He said that actually they have some studies where it's saying that in terms of pedophilia, right, specifically pedophilia, that actually the boys are almost more at risk than even the girls. That's what he said in one of
Oh yeah,
these.
yeah. I'm glad you say that because um um he did say that. I think he said that boys are molested more than girls.
Right. They have some
No.
kind of data that
Yeah.
suggests that now. And I think there must be something true about it. I mean, look at this, man. This is a boy. And, I'm starting to draw some kind of correlation between repression, like just men. I mean, look at Bambaataa and these guys, man. It's all these guys together, but what's the background of it, man? Before there was a time where you could say that that this behavior, it wasn't typically connected to homosexuality. Obviously it's not, because you can have a heterosexual pedophile, right? That's obvious, and that's not homosexuality. That's just heterosexual pedophiles, right? But I'm starting to wonder myself if some of this has a lot to do with just repressed men, repressed males in some kind of way. We call it's being called homosexual pedophilia, right? But I mean, I'm just wondering if there's a connection just between repressed men, even in the US, like jail culture, juvenile jail, or just repression of men in general, like that's turning into pedophilia of boys, taking
What I think it
advantage
is,
of
Bennett?
boys. Maybe I'm not articulating it right now. I don't want to offend
No,
anybody
you
either.
are. You
So.
are. You want to know what I think it is, Bennett? Because I thought about it before too. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, we can hear,
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah. So I thought about it too. So we're all human, right? So we all have sexual desires, right? I mean, like you can't say I mean, unless you're asexual, we all have sexual desires, right? I know my sexual desires are for, you know, women, thick women. I love my thick women, But then you have some people that can be overly addicted to sex, and then for them, like, it reaches a level of like where your sexual desires cannot be satisfied within normality. That's where you get bestiality from. That's where you get pedophilia from. You know, and like you said, I believe once you reach that level of pedophile, I don't even think they care if it's a boy or girl. Like, you know what I mean? It's just you've pushed your sexual desires to such a monstrous way, and I believe like people, like, you can't come back from that. Like, you can never come back from that. You know? And I believe Jess to
Sure.
them. I don't believe you can be rehabilitated. I don't believe you can.
Yeah, and maybe we don't protect maybe we look at we spend a lot of time in society thinking about protecting girls, and maybe what's coming out here is that we don't spend time thinking about boys at all, like
Protect our
the
boys.
environment
Protect
we
our
put
boys
them
too.
in. Because look at this guy, this little boy. I mean, where's his parents at, and mama, and all of that, and just in society, all those boys that was going to Bambaataa House, nobody even could imagine. No one even thought. It was just regular. But I bet you, if it was a girl there, one girl show up, I bet you everyone walking up the street would notice if that girl went in that apartment, or I
Yeah,
mean,
you're
because
right.
we're trained to do that. Even myself, you learn as you go along as a parent or in society, but we're trained. We're typically geared to think about protecting girls, and boys, we kind of train them, assume that that they're going to be all right, that they're just okay when they go outside. We don't think of girls that way, that they're just okay when they go outside. I don't know,
V.
man.
Bennett, you were asking where are the parents now? That boy, I think he's underage. I think he maybe 17, maybe 15. But they're gonna say I've shared both the documentary and the excerpt. Now here, this is Al Jazeera, so nobody's gonna say this is like a Zionist propaganda. And here it talks about. Let me show it. And I dealt with that a while back. In Afghanistan, people selling babies and young girls to survive. The dire economic situation sees children dying of starvation as millions of Afghans struggle to put food on their tables. So they are literally selling their own children. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's something, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Look at
horrible,
this.
man. It's
When the family are able to eat, it's often only bread and sometimes with vegetables accompanied by watered down green tea. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let me go back
and the
to
sex trade is fueled by money, pretty much.
yeah. True. Now here,
It's-
let's finish with that clip.
There's been an argument. Some of the other men want to take the boy home tonight.
My memory failed me. That guy took the boy home.
Yeah, the one that was laughing, bro. He know what he was gonna do.
Yeah. He looked like he was really into that boy.
Hey, this is Islam
So
for y'all, man.
I've shared the full documentary. The second link was just an excerpt. You have it in the chat. You can share it. But this is the full documentary. Once again, it's called "The Dancing Boys of Afghanistan." And you see, it's 2010 documentary. And I told you I've seen it about 10 years ago. Sister Angela Brunette,
Yep,
feel
it's old.
free.
Can y'all hear me?
Loud and clear, sister.
So, I mean, all this stuff is really, just sad and disheartening. I believe the way how we raise our children, we tell our boys to be tough and, our girls, we're supposed to be soft and all this other kind of stuff. And so we see all these things happening to our young men and we wonder why. I mean, they tell boys you're not supposed to cry because, you sound like a girl, don't be a sissy, don't be all these names that come along with showing human emotion. Boys are told to repress and girls are told to express. And then we are called overly emotional. And then you all are called repressed. You're repressed because you're not showing emotions. And we're over emotional because we're showing too much. So there has to be a medium somewhere, happy medium, where it's okay to express all of this stuff. If somebody is hurting you, how else are you going to be able to tell it unless you're emotional? Because if you're repressing it, then your behavior becomes something else, right? The same thing with being overly emotional, because there are things we shouldn't be overly emotional about, but because we are groomed to be that way as girls, it's okay to be that way. Then men get compared to us as if that's a bad thing. when that's how we are taught to be, right? So there has to be a happy medium on both sides for us to be in the middle, so that when things are happening to our children, the boys don't feel like they're acting like a girl when they have to say somebody hurt me, right? And then the girls don't have to be so overly emotional to where that when they have to express that somebody's hurting them, that it engages emotions that may seem like they're not necessary, but necessary for the way they're explaining it, right? So I hear the Chris of the world, and I hear these guys out here who have had those things happen to them, and we have to wonder where are we as parents when we're not hearing our children, because sometimes it's not even in what you say verbally, it is in your behavior and how you act and how you do a particular thing, right? And so if we're not paying attention, that's when those things happen, right? And so I'm just, it just saddens me to think that our children, I mean, this has been going on for a long time. And I think stuff happened in my parents, with my mother and her family, things happen, and then they're told not to talk about it, because back then, and I try not to say this to try to be, make this about a man or woman, but men are the ones who are writing all these laws about how we're to dictate and how to live in this life, right? So they give themselves excuses to do the things that they're doing. You find it in the biblical literature, you find it in the laws of the land, and then women are being blamed because the laws say that you can do a particular thing that a man might not be able to get away with, and we're considered feminist or whatever word you want to apply, when it's not us that is making the laws. There's not a whole lot of women in Congress or anywhere where these states are making these laws to govern society. And so we find ourselves back at this quagmire of, why do men want to put in there for themselves these excuses to do the things that they're doing? I mean, so if you're following any of the biblical literature,
we don't have that in like the current laws, like back in the days in the Bible and other religions. Yes, I agree, but the law applies to everybody. But feel free, sister.
But the laws are still written, like, so when it comes to child support and all that kind of stuff, like I said to me personally, I think whoever makes the most money should be the ones who take care of the children. It shouldn't be just automatically the mother. I don't feel that way. But those laws are written. I'm talking about the laws of the land that come in and govern how things are to be done. Those are typically have not been what women have been engaged in, because they didn't want women in politics, and they didn't want women in all these places to help bring some stability, equal, kind of up the middle. Like where I was working, I'm just gonna give an example. Where I was working, there were no women in upper management, and I would tell them all the time, you might as well be going in there smoking a cigar and propping your feet up on the table, because you are men and you think the same way. And until you have a counter to your point, you're gonna always you may say it differently, but the end is the same, because you're not hearing something that counters what you're saying. And so with all this that's happening in the world today, it's still dominated by male thought. It doesn't give room for other thought processes to come in and say, we shouldn't be doing this thing like this, because there's still not enough of our voices out there in the world to make it balanced. Because there's still not enough of us, even in the American society, there's still not enough of us up in the Congress. I mean, if you just look at it, you just look at the balance of it, there's just still not enough of us up there. We're there, but there's still not enough. Even with the Supreme Court, there's still still imbalanced. And so we're still going to have these kind of struggles until we can find we can come to that medium where everybody's voice is heard for what it is, and it's not this so lean, so heavy to one thought process. Because even like in West Virginia, they said they still passed a law banning child marriages, right? They didn't even want to do that. Like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Who is doing that? That's not. I guarantee you, that's not women doing that. I guarantee you that. It's still this patriarchal mindset that it still exists out there.
Virginia?
I don't.
West Virginia. Well, look, I'm gonna tell you something, sister.
I just heard that on the news.
Hold on. No, that's fine. I'm gonna let you know something, sister. So I live in Northern Virginia, okay? So if you go to West Virginia, there's a certain type of people that are out there. I'm gonna tell you this. All right. A lot of these people are incestuous people. A lot of them are not black, and peace to you, sister. So every place has its own rules, but I know where I live at, that would never fly. You know what I'm saying, sis? But I agree with what you're saying though. But we can't expect every state to have the same laws because the people within that state are the ones that vote on these laws. So continue, my sister.
Yeah, and I was just using them as an example. I'm not saying that all states have the same. I'm just saying that within each within
U.S.
each
got less lady representation in the law,
yes,
in terms of
overall,
the
doesn't matter what
overall.
state
That's
you're
great.
in. Doesn't matter what state you're in. It's still it's still lopsided, and we have to fix that. And because I thought there were more of us. I thought there were more women in the world than there were men, but yet we're still
They
on
are.
this. We're still on the side where patriarchy is, and we have to figure out a way to stop that because it's that mindset that is causing a lot of where people don't feel comfortable coming forward. I mean, these guys are older when they came forward. If they were given that to make to be that it was okay for them to come forward when they were younger, we could probably head off a lot of this stuff early on. But I just think the way young men are told to not cry and not express your feelings and all that I just think it's been a detriment on both sides for the girls to be able to do all that and we could be crying wolf and nothing's happening and then when it does happen then it's like, oh, they don't believe her, and then the young men don't get an opportunity to express how they feel about a thing because they're told they're punks or sissies or whatever. And it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
I'm glad you said that. Because I didn't actually even tell my mother about it till I was in my 20s.
Right.
And she collapsed in the kitchen, like it freaked her out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, we meant to be tough, macho, like all that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of brothers on here or wherever. They don't went through the same stuff, man.
Yeah. But
I
Shaka,
think it's
again,
typical.
I just want to say,
Sorry.
again, thank you for bringing this to the forefront because a lot of stuff has been hidden and it needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about so something can be done about it. It needs to be talked about, and I'm glad Sister Wills is out there doing that, doing it.
I'm glad as well.
Yeah.
Her organizing the protest is very significant. Her report is very, very informative, and there was a court case regarding Bambaataa, what I'm saying, not just because of hate or jealousy, but because he's accused of doing things, and the court will determine if he will be found guilty or not. You know what I'm saying? It's very important. And indeed, boys or men will speak less about being molested or raped than females. You know what I'm saying? A lot of females will not speak about it for countless reasons, and males will not speak about it for even more reasons, including you're supposed to be tough, you're supposed to be strong, men don't cry, and all things like that. It is true. But brothers and sisters, I would like to just finish with that Ron Savage, because he said that Bambaataa made him do it with his sister's boyfriend, and we have probably like well, okay, it's 34 minutes long. We've covered 12 minutes, so it means there's like about 18 minutes or so left, basically 20 minutes left. But hopefully he will talk about it before the end, and then after, that's the last video that I'm going to share. So please stay with us, brothers and sisters. Now let me just play this.
That was a good thing because we actually help people to move forward, because the first healing process is to speak on it, right?
Right, exactly.
That's what heals you. So did they ever make attempts on your life? Meaning that, did they ever threaten you? Did they ever say, yo, you better not say nothing? Did they ever offer you money not to speak?
See, this is another thing that people have to realize, and if you follow everything that was happening when I first came out, and I told what happened to me. If somebody was lying or whatever, the Zulu Nation, they would have jumped all over that day one.
Didn't they originally accuse you?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah,
because I'm gonna tell you, if somebody says something about me, I'm going to you day one, like 30 seconds after you say it.
Yeah, especially some shit like that.
You know what I'm saying? But with them, you see how I'm speaking to on the phone. This is not an attack on you. This is to get down to the truth of Bambaataa.
So in the phone call, they never denied that he did it to you.
Never denied it. They offered me money, you know, and I was letting them know that this don't have nothing to do with money. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have nothing to do with money. This is about me finally able to speak about it and make sure that things like this doesn't happen to no one else, not just from Bambaataa, all over the world.
So all right, I don't want to cut you, but the end game, what from Bambaataa, if you could look in this camera and tell him and speak to him personally, what do you want from him?
From him? You know that recently there was a phone conversation. There was a conference call with Bam and some other chapter leaders from the Zulu Nation, and in the phone call, Bambaataa was like telling the Zulu Nation members to stop acting like suckers. My thing is, Bambaataa, you need to stop acting like a sucker. Because the only sucker here is Bambaataa. If you're gonna tell the truth, then speak the truth. You know, I can only speak for me. You molested me when I was 14 years old. You know that. I can't speak on behalf of everyone else because you can only speak about what happened to yourself.
Yeah.
And I just wanted an apology. And they were trying to get me to speak to Bam. And you know what? I'll put it out there because I have the recording.
Okay.
They put me and Bam in a conference call, and they told me don't record Bam. I recorded him.
Oh shit.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, you can get whoever you want to get. I have the recording, and I will let it out.
Oh shit.
So my thing is, Bam was saying, "Oh, bee stinger." You know what I'm saying? Because that's how he talk. You know what I'm saying? So my thing was, Bam was like, "Oh, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Let's stop this foolishness." What? So, I got like really mad because then I knew that it was probably other people on the phone and they knew that I was going to record them. So he didn't want to really say nothing. You know what I'm saying? But they thought right. Yeah, I have the recording. So when he said that he didn't know Bee Stinger, I was going to leak it right then. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To show that this man is a liar, and those Zulus that's protecting him right now, to me, they suckers. Because how can you protect a pedophile?
Dude, I was hearing little rumors, and I don't know if you could clarify it because it might just be a rumor, that it's a pedophile ring with them, period. Like it's something going on that most of them might be.
All right. You can use me. I'm hip hop's darkest secret.
Okay, and that's a book also, right?
The book, no, I wrote a book. The book is Impulse, Urges, and Fantasies. That book was written to help me get everything out, because when I was seeing a therapist, I wouldn't speak to the therapist. So she told me to go home and put everything down, on paper. So I just kept writing and writing and writing. I put everything. I put my whole life. I said, because if you gonna diagnose me, if you want to know me, then I just put everything down, and it just turned into a book.
Okay, so the Hip Hop Darkest Secret is not a book yet.
No, Hip Hop Darkest Secret is it's a guy that did the book Hip Hop.
Okay.
He did the history of hip hop, and that's of Steve Hanger.
Okay.
He documented, he was the first person to document hip hop in a book.
Okay.
And he told me that I was hip hop's darkest secret.
Okay, so that's what you call. Okay.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So he's like, you're hip hop's darkest secret. So
he's
going to redo the book.
Makes sense.
He's going to put me into the history books, because I was the first person to publicly come out and speak about it, when everyone else, they didn't really come out and say it publicly. And I can say I believe they didn't come out publicly because if they can offer me money, then they offered everyone else money. That's just my opinion. you know, because when I was on the phone call, you know, they was like, yo, you know, Beastinger, you know, I'm not talking about no $5,000. I'm talking about $50,000. You know, let's get a number. You know what I'm saying? So that was just to shut me up. So my thing was, my response to that was like, and they were saying that this was coming from Bam, that Bam just wanted the fire to go away. I'm quoting what's on the tape. So they just said that Bam said that he wanted the fire to go away. You know what I'm saying? And name my price.
Wow.
So my thing was, I was like, oh, okay, name my price. All right, I want $100,000. You know what I'm saying? That was to shut them up, because I know damn well that man didn't have that. Well, at least I don't know if he did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then they came back to me after the phone call and they said, oh, well, you know, Bam's not gonna give you that. You know, he'll give you $5,000. So to me, you know, I'm hearing, this is the second time that I'm hearing $5,000. So I guess that was the going rate that they gave everyone else to shut up.
Yeah. What was it? Did you ever see anybody else getting molested, or do you suspect anybody else got molested in the situation? I mean, we know of Poppy. He came out, was brave enough to speak.
Yeah,
on
big
it.
up, Poppy. Much respect.
Was it anybody else? Was it any other kids around at the time that you was like?
I'm gonna put it like this: when I was younger, when I was 14, by 14, 15, I guess, I was in the car with Bam. You know, I used to be in Bam's car all the time. And Bam also used to send for me. He had an OJ driver back at that time. So this is history for the people, you know. And I believe the OJ driver was 44. I believe that was his name. You know, he's the OJ driver.
What the fuck is an OJ driver?
OJ is like the OJ cars.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
my deaf OJ. Everybody go hotel.
It's the car. It's the name of a car company.
Yeah.
So, you know, I used to be with Bam, and you know, if I'm gonna tell it, I'm gonna tell it. I used to be in the car with Bam, and Bam used to, you know, jerk off, and he had me go down on him, and he went down on me. This was not one or two times. This was multiple times. You know what I'm saying? And then one of the times, you know, because I figured that this, at that time, me being young, I figured this was hip hop. This is what I had to do to be down with this thing called hip hop.
That shit ain't hip hop. But the thing that's crazy about it is that's what hip hop has become in 2016. These dudes is doing that shit. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah, and Bambaataa is the one that coined hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? So
disgusting.
Exactly. So my thing is the word hip hop, he wasn't the one that came up with the word hip hop. That was Cowboy from the Furious 5.
Okay.
Back at that time, I think it was the Furious 3 or something like that. But Bam is the one that coined hip hop culture. So when people ask me, do I support hip hop culture? I don't know what that is.
All right, let me ask you one critical question that they're going to be wanting to know. At what point did you say, man, this shit is homo, this shit is gay, I shouldn't be doing this shit? Was it ever a point where you said, I shouldn't be doing this shit?
Yeah, you know, after a while, after me being in Bam's car, and he always used to pat my head like I'm some chick, like I was his chick or something. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt. Like now I don't even like people touching my head. You know what I'm saying? And Bam used to come to my house, and I had to lay on the bed and cross my legs, and he would put his penis in between my legs and pump up and down. You know what I'm saying? And I was a young kid at that time.
Yeah.
So my thing is that, you know, I just wanted to be down. I thought that's what it was. And then me being in the hip hop culture, I always used to wonder in my head when I went to the parties, who else was down with this? Because it wasn't just me.
Okay.
Because one day Bam took me to my sister's boyfriend's house, who was a member of the Zulu Nation Council. And we were there maybe like 2-3 minutes. And Bam told him to take his penis out. And he looked at Bam like, yo, not in front of Beastinger. Like, what are you know? Bam told him it's okay because Beastinger knows. And Bam made me go down on this man. And it was just for like a couple of seconds, and then he stopped. My sister's boyfriend stopped. So from that point on, I had lost respect for my sister's boyfriend because I felt like, yo, you knew about this and you didn't warn me. You didn't tell me. You didn't protect me. So me growing up, I've always had a hatred towards him.
He's still around, or
yeah, he's still around.
He's still your sister boyfriend?
No, he's
Oh, I'm
not
about
my
to say.
sister's boyfriend. But the crazy thing is, and I'm gonna say a name, and Jazzy, I love you. I don't mean to put you out there, but you know, Jazzy said that he asked my sister's ex-boyfriend, did he do this? And he was like, no, I didn't do it. You know, and Jazzy said he's seen the lie in his face. So my thing is, brother, you need to like speak your truth. You know what I'm saying? Because if all of us is coming forth, you need to come forth too.
Okay. Well, we heard it. I don't know if you caught it, but he actually said the name of the guy is called Team. He said it. So, man, that will be classified as, you know, human trafficking, you know, or sex trafficking. You know, he took the underage boy to a location and got him to get down with another person. I mean, dang, man. I mean, man. I'll share the link for those who want to listen to the rest.
Hey, that's Zulu Nation for you, bro.
Yeah. Street cats.
I
Gangsters.
had a boy. Yeah, one of my like I said, I'm a b-boy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if anybody don't know what that is, you know, breakdancing and things like that. Had a friend of mine went to New York, became a Zulu member of Zulu Nation, Hispanic cat. I ain't gonna give no names, but I know when he was out here, he was on that sex trafficking shit, straight up.
What you mean?
Girls, boys, or both?
No, he was selling these women, but I mean that don't make it okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yeah, they don't make it okay, but it's like, if you ever heard of what an egregore is, an egregore is like a group mentality, you know? And it's almost like once you get into something, everybody in that group got that same mentality. And that's why I never
definitely.
That's why I never got down with the Zulu Nation. Hell no.
The groupies, man. Groupie mentality. This
Yeah.
The peer pressure, the group mentality is a reality indeed, you know.
He went to the Bronx, New York. He got down with the Zulu Nation. And then I just see my man go from goddamn right to all the way left, like straight up.
And some of them will use, you know, narcotic, alcohol. You know, I mean, they'll find ways. They will use money. They will use, you know, I mean, or even besides money or alcohol and drug, they will make promises about stardom. You know what I'm saying?
Charisma, rhetoric, all kinds of stuff.
Yes, exactly. You know, and it's just sad, man. It's just sad. So these conversations are important because some people may still be doing this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's the damaging people's lives. You know. And
you can imagine because look, if they're having this issue, look at Layla Wells' problem right now. I mean, and this and their this conglomerate or this association is trying to raise awareness. You don't see a lot of support, man. Do you see a lot of support? I mean,
I mean, how many rappers are promoting the protests in New York, March 27th?
It seems like it's more convenient to not talk about this kind of stuff than it is to talk about it, and that's shameful because you dealing with taxpayer dollars. I mean, she said they literally gave dudes something like they gave them like $4 million. The state, you know, the mayor's office, the city, you know, through tax dollars, and you know, they got to know that these allegations or that a lot of this stuff is going on because these are city reps, man. They don't know child trafficking exists. You know, child trafficking and child assault. So I think that is typically underrated, period. That's an underrated thing. You know, I think that's just a norm. It's underrated. You could expect the more you find out about it, the more you see that people are far less likely to discuss it or want to discuss it. And then and when you start going to the government level, like the local government level, this puts pressure. Politicians, do they want to discuss it? Because they have to get votes. Usually a lot of things that politicians want to discuss is based on, can they get votes or not, right? And so you would have to build up that conversation in the society and before action happens on it. But it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. When I look at New York, man, and I put this behavior together with it, New York is a city with people piled on top of each other. They're all packed in. This is like an area where anything secretive can go on. Any type of network can exist, because you want to do it in a place you can hide, right? So to me, it just seems like trafficking of anything in New York would be a problem, let alone they know it's a problem, but we don't talk about it like it's a problem. It happens right in our face. It could be international human trafficking to child trafficking to local, the local sex trafficking industry. I don't even have all the words right now, and I'm gonna tell you, some of it is because it's so hard to think about. It's so hard to think about and really discuss it. But when you think about it, we already have these conversations packed into small areas. Like, we go to strip joints, strip clubs. Strip clubs is typical American. It's across America. But who ends up working in these places? Do we have any standards? And is there any workers' rights in these places? The less worker rights there are and less standards applied, then that all kinds of fishy stuff is going on. It's a haven for fishy stuff, right? And I'm not trying to diss that industry and people that find it to be okay, but I just mean, like, when you step back on a rational level, unions, if there's no unions, then there's no rights for the workers. Then anything can just happen. And it's the same thing. It looks like across the board, like I would expect loads of people online to be like going to Layla's page and saying, we support this, but you don't see it. I would expect loads of people to support Poppy Hassan Campbell in New York, but I think more people support him outside. I think in New York, there's a lot of pushback in New York against him, like locally, like people are ashamed. People don't want to discuss it. People don't want to do nothing about it. And I guess that goes back to, because if it's going to come back to somebody in your business, or it's going to come back to your business, or it's going to come back to somebody in your family, or somebody, you personally know, a lot of people don't want to expose that. But I just think, man, I'm totally disheartened by it, man. I'm starting now, even myself, to have a problem, because the more you think about it and the more you find out people don't care, that's an ugly place to sit at in your mind, man. That's a disgusting place. That's just, man. Let me shut up. I'm sorry, because
Yeah,
I'm not
I
articulating myself well.
hey, peace to everybody on the panel. What's going on?
Hey, young hero.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was just listening to Bennett, and I wasn't even going to jump on, because I was about to ask Shaka how many people watching, because just like he said, I don't know if it's true or not, but they say the delete Hassan Campbell page.
Well, I
Um,
can tell you. I can tell you. Sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off, but there's only 21 people watching right now. It's not the typical juicy stuff of this camp against that camp or that
yeah,
person against that camp. We're talking about child
that's my
molestation,
point.
and indeed, like V. Bennett says, so sometimes it's some people in their families, can be their fathers, their uncle, their sons, or even females also who have molested children. But Hassan
Yeah,
Campbell, I don't think he stated himself that his account was terminated, because some people say that
yeah,
it was made
everybody
like
just
private.
speculating.
Yeah. Some people are celebrating, but some people say that his account was made private because it's an option on YouTube. Because they say that you have links to some of his videos, and when you click on those links, the videos appear as unlisted. So maybe we should wait for Hassan Campbell to state for the record that his account has been terminated. Maybe he got some copyright claim, and out of precaution, he decided to some strikes, because there's a difference between strike and copyright claim. For those who don't know, on YouTube, if you get 3 strikes, your account is out. So maybe he got 1 strike or 2 strike, and he thought, okay, let me just make my channel private, and then I can sort out the videos that I will remove to avoid getting another strike or another 2 strike and lose my channel. But feel free
Yeah.
to continue, brothers.
Yeah, like I was saying, so like I was saying, this thing is deeper than we think, it's embedded in society, I mean, all over the world, and it even go back in ancient time that some of them used to glorify it. So it's everywhere, every corner. That's why you have people trying to change their agenda. And, like I said, these people don't follow none of the rules or the laws in the books they read, because they just, one thing you're not supposed to do is do anything to your body as modify your body. Even tattoos, I had one when I was young, and sometimes I even regret that I even got it. So in saying that, like, it's just a shame, like Bennett said, nobody ain't talking about it. Even when and Priest had that show about York, like they never mention African Bambaataa. They never mention the match that's happening in New York. No rappers don't mention it, and you don't see it on news. So it's just to show you, like, these people don't really care. They only want to care about what drama, negativity. They don't care about what really affect the kids. So that's where we don't get nowhere. They still having debates in other all these people that making all this connection on YouTube. They don't get together and build communities and build centers for children to play, and you know what I'm saying. So I just like, and nobody don't have their priorities straight. Everything is about money, and it's clear to see. So it's disappointing, and sometimes only so much small number of people that don't have no power in legislation and all of that. So in government, I mean, what else can you do?
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible, and I think it's really, like New York is such a huge city, and it's driven by money. Obviously, there's a lot of money, and there's a lot of people struggling to survive there. But I think that's why we see this dynamic happening the way that it does. People not being willing to engage, and the government seems pretty weak in New York. I mean, to be honest, on a social communal level, like in terms of social welfare and looking, I could imagine that they have a hard time protecting kids. They have a hard time providing basic services to people. I can imagine that in New York, and I think that's why we don't see a lot of people that have hope and somebody like Bambaataa even being confronted, or justice even coming forward. I mean, you know, that feeds into the
So
psychology of the people, how the people react, and if the law of the land has always been money rules, um, then you could automatically, suspect that you wouldn't think too much justice is going to come. But for some reason, there are small groups of people that feel like they can get justice if they speak out, you know. But it's scary when you don't see loads of people supporting it. I mean, it's just really scary. And the hip hop
so
community, and the hip hop community
it's just
is
yeah,
the community in New York.
it's
It's it's a big
yeah,
community in
that's
there.
the
It's
thing, that's the
That's the
thing.
scary thing.
All over the world, that's the thing. People put people on a pedestal. People give people categories, and who is doctor and who is lawyer and who is president and who is whatever. So these people become today idols, and people don't even recognize it. So a lot of people with that kind of power, they in connection with people with that kind of power as well. And these people that have this power, they run basically what's going on. They run the narrative. So sometimes they even cover for each other until they can't cover for them no more. So in saying that these people have this kind of power, you know what I'm saying, and they into these kind of things, is like, you know, how much you can control it.
But you know, the narrative will be different if Bambara is found guilty by the
So
world. Because
oh yeah, I was going to ask you what. So he has charges against him
yes,
as we
civil
speak.
charges.
This
Civil
is
charges.
another
Yes, yes.
thing I don't understand. It's just like um that guy was saying, Fat Joe. You know, what I mean, people like to play with people intelligence, because when you speak, you know, what I mean, how can you say was it like 2016 that Hassan Campbell and them came out?
Somewhere around that time period.
Yeah,
Yes.
and he just said he heard about it like 2019 or 18, like a few years ago. You know, he said he heard it a few years ago. I'm like, really? Everybody was talking about that in New York. There's no way you could have missed that. So in saying that, these guys, that's like I told you, you know, these guys get put on a pedestal. You mean to tell me I don't care what no man do? I don't care if he's a king, president, pope, you name it. I don't care what his record is. If he's a stand-up man, righteous man, he wouldn't commit these kind of acts. And anytime he do that, he has to be put on a side. Period. And then you speaking like that is the same thing like Paul Light and Sanetta. You know what I mean? You can agree with a man or disagree when there's a case going on. You can't have nobody. Ain't nobody. I'm thinking about the museum, but you put in somebody that has a pedophile cases against him on the front line. That's the issue. You know what I mean? And then people like to talk about um, museum and hip hop and culture and all of this. But what has it cultivate? The majority of people that gain from this hip hop thing is those that were playing the main parts. All the people, and they don't
Hmm.
understand the people that made them is the same people they left in the ghetto. They're the ones that made them who they are. They're the ones that contribute to their success, because it had to be a cult of everybody, you know, accepting it for what it was as a culture. So in saying that, majority of these people is only they and their circle, their family that benefit from it. But they don't understand how much this hip hop thing have diminish people, like the amount of people that get killed, the attitude, the way of life. I mean, everything within this hip hop thing. And you could even see before even gangster rap, it was negative. Because look at all these gay and pedophile stories we hearing now. So it just to show you, people need to sit back and think when they talk. Like, you can't just come and say anything, and because that's your opinion you think is right. You don't never look at all the negative. All you want to look at is the money you made and somebody know you to be successful.
You
You
know,
know what?
first the music was positive at first, but then it changed indeed, because in the music they were not talking that gay stuff. The
No.
gay stuff was never seen as cool in hip hop until the last few years. But I would like just to address this before I let V Bennett speak. Stephen P. wrote, "Why would anyone support Hassan?" So I replied, "Hassan is one of the first to speak out against Bambaata's child molestation. He was a victim of it." Then Stephen P. wrote, "Shaka, I watched lies of Hassan saying he will rape kids. Now, yes, Hassan has said publicly that he was molested and he ended up molesting children as well. But he clarified that he was a child as well. I forgot how old he said he was. I can't remember exactly because I was a while back that I seen it. If he said that he basically like grabbed or touched, I don't recall him saying that he actually raped, or like penetrated. But he did say that he came clean with it, and I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but he was a victim as a underage as a child, and as a child he reproduced uh, basically some form of like maybe the word molesting that he used was seems strong, but um, from what I recall, he like touched some boys as a child. So I just wanted to put it out there. We should not make him like okay, he said he will do this as an adult, bro. Well, okay, that is news to me. If you can share it with us, then just feel free to share it with us. But that's a bit unlikely to me, because why would he go around and you know campaign against Bambaataa if he's doing the same thing? So if you can show and prove, then please share it with us. You have the chat there, so So go ahead, you Bennett.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't support. I don't think it's about the person Hassan. I don't support him and everything he says. But as far as speaking out, it seems like there's a lot of people that don't want him to speak out about what he knows, right? And it seems like he knows a whole lot more than what's being said. And like I noticed on the last thing he was on with Layla Wills, he kind of said some things that imply that there's a whole lot more that hasn't come out. And they didn't talk about it partly because of the case that's going on right now, the civil case, but that there's more to come. But yeah, I don't defend anybody doing anything, and I think it's regretful any negative statement that he might make. Um, but that's what I mean by I think people should support the victims, not only Hassan. And I think there is more coming out. But I think what trouble was really telling in this is there's not too many celebrities speaking out, although they can't be so blind. They have to know that there's a lot of victims out there. um there's got to be celebrities, some of the celebrities that are victims themselves, right? And also, like Andrea was saying, there seems to be way more men controlling hip hop than women, just in the industry. I mean, you almost have little chance of being a woman in the music industry. If you rise up, you had to have gone through a whole lot of stuff as a woman. But I think the industry itself is it is been male orientated and dominated. And then when you see the people that are coming out making the money, $1 billion out of it, the successful ones, the ones that they're men mostly. You got Beyonce, she's one. The rest of them are guys. And my question is I find it really suspicious because, on a community level, on a human rights level, when you talk about child trafficking, that's a human rights thing. That's such a basic safety hazard that everybody is supposed to be on board with, right? And I find it really strange that people like Sean Puffy Combs don't want to lend their name to a cause like that. They want to lend it to to voting, but this is dead straight center in his city, this problem, that they're talking about. And it just seems strange that none of these bigger other celebrities, they don't seem like they can lend a voice. And I think that's terrible because then they make it seem, when they don't do that, they make it seem like they're part of covering it up, when they could easily just lend a voice and say, you know what, there are some kids in our own city. This really did happen to a lot of kids. This is the issue for boys and girls. This is a good cause. Let's support it. But how many of you see them even doing that? So that to me, that paints a really ugly face of New York City, like a really exploitive face. And I know it's not just New York, but I think people should really think about that for a second. Like these people come out there and they try to pretend like they're humanitarians and that they're for the community. Well, this is obviously something right in their face. How come they ain't speaking about it? I think that's really troubling. I think it's really troubling, and I don't think they have a way to explain it. I think there's something up with that. Like there can't be that many entertainers that just are like hands off. We ain't touching this unless there's something bigger going on. Unless they too are either a part of it or they know something or they feel like their business will be harmed, that their associations will be damaged by speaking out. But that implies that there's something bigger going on if that's how they feel. I don't see how they could be silent. It's just hurting me, man. It's just I'm really starting to feel like something deeply troubling is going on beyond Bambaataa. Like it can't just because if it was just Bambaataa, why would they care about him? He's an old 65-year-old man. He's on his way out. If it was just him, why would they be so fearful? To speak out. I don't see it, man. To me, but anyway, yeah.
I think so as well. I think it looks like he might have modeled himself after some secret societies, like Freemasons and maybe others, because it seems like, many, if not most of the people that were put on in the rap game, they had to go through some of these molestation. And we read from the report that with some children, um, and not just the report, but other testimonies, there's mentions of porn being played. So um, some gay porn, but some women, you know what I'm saying? And we heard about prostitutes as well, if I'm not mistaken, in the report. So maybe some children, or maybe young adults were a bit reluctant to anything that has to do with, gay stuff. So then the prostitutes will come into play, the heterosexual porn will come into play, and then, probably with, drug, alcohol, or any other or promise of being put on some record, then maybe some people gave up their stuff. And we have that book that you talk about so many times, all those pictures, I think that's why they don't speak out, I mean, it's some uncompromising positions. You don't want that to be released like that. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like, yeah, it's way deeper than we may think. I think that the majority of those people were put on, they had to go to some stuff, unless maybe they had some very gutty person within the crew that was like, no, you ain't gonna do that to him or her. But man, even the people around him were into that. We had the testimonial earlier from Ron Savage, who unfortunately has ended up siding with the Zulu Nation. And this is important to know. Some people will betray their own cause. That was Ron Savage's Beastinger's cause, and he betrayed it because he's cool with the Zulu Nation now.
Yeah, that stuff is just, it's just, I just think, at the end that it's just money that's involved, and I still think that staying within your four walls, is that still that mantra out there? Don't you let this go outside the four walls, because if you do, this could happen to you, right? And those who are coming forward and talking about it, I take my hat off to all of them, because I can't imagine what that would feel like, having to come forward, right? But those who are doing it, I'm glad that they're doing it, but I'm sure there's a price that's being paid for them to do that. And
Yes.
it's just, like you were saying, like early on in the conversation, about having people saying things about you, as far as how long trauma can last in a person's life. I mean, we don't know how these things are affecting people as they go down the road, and unfortunately, they might find more solace in not saying anything than having to be re-traumatized and coming out and say it again. And so you have to give people that space, right? Unfortunately, we haven't given them safe spaces to talk about this stuff over the years. And so I can understand why some people won't come forward, just for, like I said, not even making it to the court systems or anything like that, but just coming forward and saying, this is what happened to me. Because it's, if they haven't been helped, which I'm sure the majority of people have not, even told a family member, let alone, some psychiatrist or psychologist. If you don't have the space to do that, I can imagine why some people would not want to talk about it again, because it's going to bring that up again, and it might be an area that still hasn't been healed yet. And so, all that, it's just all that stuff that we have to think about. And it's, unfortunately for our brothers and sisters who have and are going through this kind of stuff, I hope that, we stop looking at our four walls as the place where everything's supposed to stop and start, and know that there's a bigger world out there, and there are people out here who do want to help, and that they would come forward and get the help that they need. I just can't imagine.
Yeah. And when I think about the things I've been through, being lied on, not seeing my son for months. I didn't even see my son for his first birthday, Um, and just thinking about it, it's like I'm reliving it, and I'm very angry, because I got, disrespected, I'm saying, even by people in the authorities, I'm saying, social workers, judges, and but it's nothing compared, or let's say it's not it's way lesser than those people who went through molestation. The injustice, you know that you were done wrong, and those people who wronged you, they are acclaimed. They are living their best life. They are respected and protected. They don't even have to defend themselves. People speak for them on their behalf. And then when I see, those channels that invite convicted rapists, some of those people who defend the child molesters, think carefully, because if God forbid that happens to one of your child, and then you're gonna want to talk about, oh, that's messed up. When you know that deep inside you will feel messed up, because you will know that you were one of the defenders of this child molesters. And we're talking about people who are convicted in the court of law. You are in no position to talk about morals, to talk about what we need to do as a people.
You know what, bro?
But you are yeah, go ahead, brother.
You know what? And I'm sorry, man, because I know you you were onto
No, it's all
something.
good, it's all good. It's all good.
This guy KRS-One, this rapper. I mean, after he made those statements, he shouldn't have been allowed to be associated with those rap things that happened on Versus, but that was the hip hop community's way of supporting him, and that kind of shows you this culture, if they want to call it a culture. This thing is the way they have it set up. Whoever is a stakeholder in this kind of hip hop or rap world, they support it. They have not the rap world, the rap industry, the hip hop industry has not put this behavior down. They haven't taken a stand on this behavior. And I think that is a scary, scary thing. That is so troubling that this industry hasn't taken a stance on it. It doesn't even matter if they don't just go after Bambaataa alone, because that's a single individual. But just to be able to take a stand, like the same kind of stand you would in any kind of job. Every company would have to has a constitution, you
Policies.
could say, I guess, right, where they say the things they do not stand for and they do not accept. All organizations have that today. But this hip hop industry, this guy went out there and said, and you know what he said? He said, I don't give a F about what happened with Afrika Bambaataa. But when he said that, he wasn't just saying his own personal opinion. He was telling others to not speak, and because he has power, he has a whole institution himself. He was telling
The
all his members
temple of hip
to
hop or
not speak.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Temple of Hip Hop, and he's suspect as heck. He's suspect. I
All of
mean,
them,
he
man.
to me he looked like the next Bambaataa. To
But
me, when I look
but
at him, he
You,
looks like him.
yeah.
you know that song 13 and Good. I heard about it. But the last time it was mentioned, I went to have a look at the music video. So that's the first time that I heard the song. I don't recall listening to the song before, but Star mentioned that song 13 and Good. Now in the music video, I mean, for those who haven't seen it, you can just type it on YouTube. But he basically explained that he meets a girl at the club, and then he goes home, and they make it do what it do. And then she somehow, some way, he speaks with her, and she reveals, oh, actually, yeah, she didn't lie about her age. He just didn't ask her for her age. And after they do it, he asks her age, and she laughs, and she goes, I'm 13. So he's like, shocked, surprised, because she looks older. Then the father comes with a gun or whatever. And then the father goes, like, like looking for Vaseline. It's like, now I want you. Now in the music video, we see Karis when punching the father, and the father falls and he runs away. But I don't think that in the lyrics he says that. So is it some experience that he went through? Or is it some different way with a different scenario to basically confess or um allude to what he may have been through? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People say
But
that he was
Right.
once homeless. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
Right.
I don't know.
Why would
This
you?
people
Yeah,
can say it's conjecture, but
you
for
have
him
to
to say
sit
I don't
down.
give a f, what I'm saying, and not even recanting, not even say I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It's insensitive. When it was September 11th, I don't know if you've seen him, but because he has stated people saw it in some way. Some people saw it as justice. I saw him on TV, or the philosopher. That's how he's usually introduced as or presented as a philosopher. Now, when he was asked about it, he was explaining, the other people's point of view, people who are subjected to oppression and stuff like that. But then the journalist told him, yeah, but like, can't you say it's wrong? And he said, it's wrong. So him saying I don't give a f, ever since I know I said it before, but ever since he said that, I can't even listen to. I've listened to 13 and Good to understand because he's touching on the topic, but I'm not a supporter of him. I don't want to recommend that guy. I'm disappointed at him. I'm saying it was very insensitive for him. It was irresponsible for him to say that. I'm saying. But for strange reason, when Young Hero was talking earlier, if it's a white person that's accused of child molestation, people will point that out quick. But when it's a black person, it's like it's a defense mechanism to make excuses and say, it's just messed up because.
Yeah, I was
But
just going to say that
go ahead,
because
Young Hero.
yeah, it's funny you say that because like I said, man, these it's not like Bennett. I was just gonna say it's not just in the hip hop community. It's in the ISU PTA community. It's in all kind of different so-called communities when it's just so-called cults because everybody like have to follow each other. There's no leaders, you know what I'm saying? It's just one, two people running the pack, and then you have another group acting like they telling everybody else what to do. But it becomes the norm, you know what I'm saying? And that's the issue with humans. And there's a lot of things, certain things you wouldn't see in the 90s. It's just everywhere now, out in the open. Everybody losing their mind. Everything is upside down. People don't know who they are. Yada yada. Like, since when in history have you heard that? So it's saying that everybody always follow trend. And that's a big issue, man. So within saying that, even like I said, certain things these people been covering up for a long time, and sometimes when the person get exposed to the point they can't hide it no more, that's when they take charge, or that's when the person end up dead, or whatever the case may be. And like you said, what I'm saying, black people really have an issue of pointing out the bad, because I feel like they feel like, I don't know if it's because they feel like they have something to prove, they have something to achieve, and no matter who, if the person is somebody high in the community, they feel like it's going to put them ashamed. But they can't do
And we've
that.
seen that with R. Kelly.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So they need, like I said, man, it's have to be from the inside out. It's like when you have to flush your body out. If you don't attack it from the inside, and we put the pressure on people that's especially famous, and if they have anything to do with these things or backing up anybody, like I tell you, these people say they have knowledge and they have this, and they trying to be the higher man and the inner man, and they got everything in the book to tell you all kind of words you will never hear, but they can't even stand on morals and principle. They can't even stand on dignity and pride. So it's just saying, like, how can you be talking like, you this and you that, like you said, philosopher? In whose book? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't be in that with no human. I don't even go to the courtroom and call the judge, Your Honor. I don't bow down to nothing. You see what I'm saying? I don't follow people. I set the trend. Whatever I want to do, that's how I'm gonna do it. How I want to dress, that's how I'm gonna do it. I don't. That's the problem with society. So it's really damaging us as a people, because when people make things the norm, everybody follow each other, and especially like I said, it's all about money and material benefits. So like I said, these people talking about how much hip hop have done for people, but It's only the people that make money off it that's speaking that way. You have to really think about it. You know what I mean? I
Right.
don't care.
But that's what they
If
mean. That's actually what they
that's
actually
my
mean.
point. Yeah, that's my point. So, like I said, if we can't even come together and get rid of people that's you know what I mean, and you see how people see, you see it every day. You see it every day in people's actions. Abuse is a real serious thing. The trauma is serious. Sometimes, and I can't speak for nobody, because even when I was 12, 13 years old, I was already like, like a wild boy. So, but everybody mind developed different. So you can't speak for how you would react, or how some people, I heard some people say, what? He was this age, what? We was already what? But everybody don't live like that. Some people are sheltered. So when they come out in the world, they have no clue. Like the guy said, he thought he was doing hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So it just to show you everybody mindset is not the same. That's why you have some people serial killers, some people rapists, some people, just want to kill people just to see how it feels because of racism. So it just showing you like there's no such thing as color and all of that, man. Is good and bad, right and wrong. So the people that commit these acts, that's why when people say, oh, we are all one, I'd be like, huh? How? Where? It's like impossible, bro. I've certain things people do, and I just watched the news the other day, and the guy don't kill his family. Like, it's just sickening. People don't understand this is happening every day. So if we want to change it down the line in the future, we better take care of these babies, because this abuse thing is serious. You know what I mean? And you talk all like Vic Beeman and say, I don't agree with Hassan Campbell with a lot of shit. I think it's just ridiculous. But it's not just him. I could call out names all day about these black people that's just disrespecting and cursing each other and creating beef between different people that don't even know each other and all kind of things. So in saying that, man, it's pathetic, So if we don't get it together on a mental thing, we have to understand everybody is not the same. So you always have to the unexpected is always expected. I don't always tell myself that. So don't never get too comfortable, So in saying that, yeah, the people have to know that you can't be with everybody, because everybody is just not the same. It's not gonna happen, and it's not because of any call or anything. It's about their character, their morals, their principle, what they stand on, their heart, If they, just like I said, some people out here always talking about heaven and hell or afterlife and this and that, but nobody is not preparing for it. Like nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like all these things, all you talk about what you should do, or how you should reach your seven chakras. And I mean, it got so much different logics and perspectives, but yet look at us as a people in reality. We are not living up to none of these things. So we might as well put the books down and try to do it on our own, because it's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
please, I would like to share a video with you. Um, because I agree with what Young Hero said. It's about right and wrong, no matter if it's a white or black person. And we cannot be cool with everybody, because indeed it depends on the character. There are some people who publicly defend rapists and pedophiles, making excuses for them, but they will dislike you because you don't believe in their religion. Now we heard about the chakra. I think I alluded to that, but I found it here. But this is what Enki said. And Enki may not be the most reliable person in the world, because just like B Singer is cool with the Zulu Nation, I heard that Enki is cool with Sa after accusing Sa of being a pedophile. He literally said he's a pedophile publicly. We have the tape. But here, listen to what Enki says. That's when he was cool with Tohaka Bay, because shortly after, he went on Tohaka Bay's channel. Then they ended up beefing, but Tohaka Bay beefs with most people on the planet Earth anyway. So I uploaded this video 1 year ago, because some people were really hyping up Bobby Hemmitt. I know some people who were into card reading, tarot reading, divination. But we don't really hear too much about Bobby Hemi, but at one point, here him and Phil Valentine, they were seen as the top guys for metaphysics. So let's listen to that. I've shared the video in the chat. The title is Bobby Hemmitt, Anal Chakra Activation? ?
To Minister Enki. But listen up so you know it doesn't come from me.
Another conscious community. Even when it came on another.
Well, no. That came about gradually. I'm talking about from the beginning. Nobody wasn't known in the conscious community. At that time, early in the conscious community, is Phil, Delbert, and Bobby. Like that was the conscious community. Those was the heavyweights. Those was the goats, so to speak, at that era. I'm saying and those guys were students of Dr. York. You see what I'm saying? And so, Bobby Hemmett teach a lot of homosexual, he teach a lot of anal, that's what.
Hold up, big. Stop, big. Stop.
My Morris, God, what happened, man? My Morris, God, what happened, man? Bobby Hemmett is into that into the anal activation of his chakra system.
No, man, stop it. You can't say stuff like that without footage. Stop, Don't nobody.
I got footage. Why you gonna make me do that to Bobby Hemmett and the people? They gonna be mad with me.
Not Bobby. Man.
No, not Bobby teaches. Listen, Bobby and a lot of them.
Listen.
Listen, bro. Brother Panic he tells you, Brother Panic got a video where he tell you that he like to be penetrated from behind to bring himself to an orgasm.
Stop Allah. Oh Allah. Oh Allah.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of things that's happening on Brother Rich platform that he support over there. Brother
Hold
Rich
up, I like Rich too, man. Hold up, brother. I don't know if I can take this. I don't know.
Yo, pardon my Morris, God. Listen, pardon my Morris, God. Let me turn it down. Let me turn it down. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody.
These are our greats and our heroes.
Nah, not mine. See, that's what I'm saying. So Harker, see, I'll be that more you gonna remember.
All right, so it's an allegation, but I think he said that someone called Bro Panic has a footage of Bobby Hemi talking about anal chakra activation. So we have some people who are into metaphysics, you know what I'm saying? Hey, for the record. But anyway, we covered a lot. I'm going to let everybody make their closing remarks. So let's go clockwise. Sandra Burnett, if you're still with us, feel free to make your closing remarks.
Yeah, I was going to say when young Haru was talking about our children and stuff like that, that's why it's so important to tell our children the truth. It's funny, how like nowadays, if somebody says something to a kid now, they'll say, oh, that person's being rude or whatever. So I tell my grandkids, I said, if what they're saying about you is true, what you're getting upset for? I said, if somebody says you're fat and you are, why? Don't be upset about it. It is what it is, right? Do something about it. If you don't want to be called that, do something about it. I said, when we were growing up, bullying, it was somebody who beat you up for your lunch money. Now y'all are making it about anything. Doesn't matter what it is, right?
Yeah, I don't like your shoes. Oh, they're bullying me.
Oh, they're bullying me. It's everything. Or they'll say, oh, so-and-so is disrespecting me. I'm like, do you even know what the word means? They're like, no, Grandma. I said, well, then don't say it then. You don't know what it is. So I'm like, until you understand the vocabulary that you're using, don't use it, because you won't even know when somebody is really being rude to you if everything is rude, right? And they just look at me like, oh, Grandma, you don't understand, but I do understand. I said, you just just don't. You know, I said we're teaching our kids not to understand that life is not going to always be fair, right? You're going to come into this world and everybody is not going to be nice to you. But if that's what your expectation is, you're going to get your feelings hurt every day, all day, because you're not how to appropriately apply those words to your life. So I just think it's funny that we've gone from one extreme to another, and we wonder why our children are so jacked up. I mean, we want to coddle their feelings when it comes to having to know what it's like to to live in this and live here. I mean, if somebody calls you the N-word, what are you gonna do, right? Are you gonna fall apart? Or somebody calls you anything, what are you gonna do? I have to tell them you gotta toughen up some things, or just it is what it is, and you're gonna have to know how to deal with that without saying and crying, they're being rude to me, they're being mean to me, because that's what they're doing these days. And it's so sad, because we're just raising a bunch of kids who just don't want to go through anything either when it comes to understanding. That's why I'm constantly trying to tell my grandkids, you have to understand that this world is not what you think it is, and it's not. It is a bed of roses. It's pretty. Roses are pretty, but them thorns will tear your behind up if you don't know how to go in there and clip them right. So that's what I try to get them to understand, and so I think the more we do that, the better off our children to be, and better off we'll be, because we don't have to keep going through all this, having these conversations that to me just sometimes could be exhausting when it's something that to me, like our parents just kept it real. It wasn't no you just didn't get sugarcoat nothing. You got it raw. They are straight to the point.
Yeah.
They didn't hold nothing back. They're like, hey, this is what it's like. Get out there, deal with it. If it's too much for you, you come back and tell us. And as your parents, will take care of it. But if somebody's fighting, you better fight back. You don't stand there, oh my God, you don't do all that. So I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to put us on a light note, because this has been a heavy day today. This has been a really heavy one. So I just wanted to say that. Hope that made y'all laugh for the end of the evening. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, we appreciate that. It's important. We have to communicate with our children and indeed tell them the truth. Now, we better feel free to make your closing remarks, brother.
Yeah, I agree with you, Andrea. Yeah, it's good to hear you also. Yeah, I would say that, like, for me, looking at this scenario, and of course it's ongoing, but seems to me like New York City, they have an opportunity to define themselves. Every few decades, a city can do that for itself. Define how it wants to be seen. Even DC had to do that, man. And it's not, on the surface, it's looking good, but as you hear, people being pushed out at the same time as cleaning itself up, But New York City, I would say they're in the middle of defining themselves over this issue with hip hop, because hip hop, New York City is the birthplace of hip hop. So that's how critical it is to the society there, and what the society claims to be. And within that hip hop thing, you have Black and Latinos, as they always say. People always say that, right? So to me, this is starting to look like New York City does not care about Black and Latino boys, and also their girls, right? This to me is where they have to say, do we care about this community or don't we? And to me, it's looking like they're saying they don't. I mean, you could throw $4 million at a group of people. $4 million ain't nothing. $4 million is not a program, is not an action plan to protect kids, And I think New York City is starting to look like a hustler city, if they really think people are to believe that $4 million is an action plan to protect young minority kids from this type of stuff. So I hope the word gets out, man. And I'm ashamed. Like I myself, I can't support any type of rappers or rap moguls, particularly the young rappers. That's different. But the moguls, Jay-Z, he's from New York. Sean Puffy Combs, he's from New York. They claim that they're about their community. I don't see how their hands can be off of this issue. You know, I don't see it, and I don't see how they can be. It just, to me, seems like a lapse of understanding about basic rights and protecting communities, you know, which is something they claim to be about. So yeah, man. And also anybody that's a victim, I support Hassan Campbell speaking up, period. And I think I don't support everything that he says, obviously. I'm not there to hear everything he says. I don't hear all of it, what he says, but the part about people not liking him speak about his participation with the Zulu Nation and the child trafficking, that definitely is where I think everybody needs to support him and speaking out about. And I think there's a conspiracy to stop that, you know. So yes, that I'll stop on that, man. Thanks again, Shaka. Thanks, Andrea and Young Heru. We talk again. Bless.
All right.
Thank you, Brother V. Bennett. And Young Hero, feel free to make your closing remarks, brother.
Yeah. What more can I say, man, Shaka? You know, like I said, it's on every level as far as human society, you know, and we have to start with our own. So when we talk about black, we don't want to make it seem like we only talking about them. We talking about humans as a whole, you know. So, and this is just one issue, but it's a very serious issue, you know what I'm saying? And I just want people to be wise, you know, because live your life based on your thoughts and what you want to do, not based on everybody else, because that's what everybody seems to do, bring you information and try to tell you what to do. So just like these people you see on YouTube, you know, and I just found out about someone the other day and I couldn't even look at this guy because the character is so obvious, you know. So everybody on YouTube trying to sell you trying to tell you about something, how to live, what religion to
Brother, if you
follow.
don't mind, what is it that you found out? If you don't mind sharing with us.
Well, I didn't want to see the person's name, you know. The other day I gave you
Don't say the name.
Yeah, the other day I gave you somebody to look at, you know, the same one that deleted the video after he posted.
Yeah, yes.
Yes. I couldn't even look at it because it's the same thing, you know. A lot of these guys is scammers, they frauds, and they always trying to tell you how to do something, but they don't never do what they telling you. They just making a living based off telling you it. You see the difference? Now, if they had records of them doing exactly what they telling you to do, that's a different story. But 9 out of 10, the only way they're making a living is based on telling you it. So in saying that is the same thing, you know, like I said, everybody need to just be aware of self-awareness and your own flaws, because if people can't even look at their own flaws, they wouldn't even see the big issue, you know. So in saying that, I just hope, you know what I mean, I appreciate you for even bringing the topic up, because it's only anybody that is talking about it, we appreciate it too, you know what I mean, like Leila Wales and whoever else. In saying that, you know what I mean, I'm gonna make my closing, and we just gotta stick on it, and hopefully it bring more awareness, you know, because like I said, it's not just New York, but because New York is a big city with the hip hop thing, you know, it's out in the public. So a lot of places that's it happening, it's not out in the public, but it's need to be bring to awareness so we could stop it, you know. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. Well, have a good night.
Thank you very much, Brother Young Hero. So, brothers and sisters, you know my closing remarks. Stay safe, stay healthy. If I'm allowed to, by the Necheru, I will definitely holler back at you. I don't argue, I state facts. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Do I do a Necheru Hotep?
Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving middle nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So, those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video, Kemet and Ma'at, Before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Nature classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class, and all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Nature class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.